Yo, what's up, dude? Alright. Let's see. Q&A should be here any second now, if they're on time. W timing? Yeah, I know. I was literally just starting it up here. Just got home from work. Iron Mace has not gone live yet, doesn't look like. What's up, Hooligan? Wait, let me see. This is so hard for me to find Iron Mace's channel. There it is. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on the side for when it pops up here. And then we'll just chill. It should be any second now. But probably, I am curious if they're gonna drop the patches like immediately. I wonder how that's gonna work. Holy, we're up. Let's see, and Skull Keys tanked. Oh my god. Holy. Doing the 50 after work seems... Doing the 50 after work seems nice. You want me to do some 50 right now? What music? I listen to all genres. Do the 50? Alright, this is what I'm gonna do. Abo, you're gonna have to redeem it. I'll undo it, and then you can redeem it, and then I'll do it. That's fair, right? I think that's fair. This shit's kind of chill, okay? Let's see. Alright, you can redeem it now. I just put it to 1 million urban bucks. I'm kidding. Do the 50, do the 50? Fuck. Alright, we're doing the 50. Wait, I want to play a banger, hold on. This is too chill. I gotta play a banger. Where the bangers at? Where the bangers at? Oh, here we go. Here we go. What's up, Bella? Alright. Quick pump. Alright, let me pull up the thing. Let me pull up the thing. Alright, well I guess, wait, let's look at the player count real quick. Holy shit. Guess some. What's up, Storm? Oh, crazy pump. I did chest yesterday too. Holy. Can barely do 25 after some months of training. You go short king. I'm over 6 foot. What do you mean? Short king is crazy. 6'4" is pretty tall though. You're taller than me for sure. But like 3.5 inches. He's a short king. God damn. Alright. Do we do the, this is the viewer kit we had. Do we just run it while we're waiting? Oh, they just started. Hold up. They just started. They just started, boys. What's it, Dev Watch? Tavern Talk, bro. Oh, it's starting. Oh, I'm bricked. Wait, can you guys see it? Hold on. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's starting. We're gonna get answers. We're gonna get answers. Everybody lock the fuck in. What's up, Prince Keel? You fucking Judas bastard. Want to do some arena before Iron Me stream? It's starting right now. Oh, did arena pop back up? Will you take a song request? I can't. I can only play certain music that I have a license for. Dude, I didn't drink water all fucking day today. Holy shit, I'm thirsty. Yeah, it's starting soon here. It's up. Holy. They announced they're closing down. That shit would be diabolical. Do you ever braid your armpit hair? Whoa, 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 what was that? Whoa, 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 what? Hold up. Hold up. Dude, what was that? Was that an hourglass? Was that a spyglass? No way. What was that? Was that fishing? Yo, somebody go back and stream. What was that? Oh, wait, is it a gun? No shot. It's a musket? Hold up. Was that a gun? Alright, I'm pulling the stream back up. Them fucking bastards. They're fucking, oh, they're getting me hooked again, bro. They're getting me excited. How dare they get me excited, bro. Hold on. We're gonna fucking figure out what the fuck that was. Alright, let me see. What was that? We're gonna go frame by frame. This, I pulled it up. Where is it? I'm gonna find it. Oh, it started. Are they muted?
Up. Well, unfortunately, the keg is not on tap because there's some construction going on at the office. But hello, everybody.
All right, can you guys hear it? How's the audio?
Glad to have you all here. Terry, SDF, thanks for joining us tonight.
I don't want to get too loud. Let me know how the audio is.
Of the Tavern Table. I know it's been a little while. We were expecting to get this one out a little bit earlier, but you know, things happen. We've been busy. But Terry, SDF, how you guys doing? I know it's pretty hectic over there right now.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a pretty chaotic, rough past couple weeks, right? So, hanging in there.
We've got plenty to talk about today. We'll just give you guys gonna talk a bit about the current season. We're gonna talk a bit about what the distinction of HR and normals means. We're gonna talk a little bit about what's going for next season, the hot fix. We've got a lot to go over. But before we get into all of that, we want to kind of address the elephant in the room and get the tough conversation out of the way first, and talk about everything that's going on with the lawsuit, Crafton, Epic Games delisting. So I'm just going to turn it over and let SAF and Terry kind of explain all of that, and then we'll get to the good juicy bits.
Okay.
그래서 첫 번째 거 이제 그 소송 뭐 크래프톤 그 에픽 어떻게?
그거는 그냥 적당히 테니 요약해주면. 아 제가
아니 뭐 제가 할 수 있죠.
I'm gonna take notes, by the way, guys, as we're doing this.
아 잠깐 이 방송이 좀 잘 나오네.
Alright. 네.
And guys, let us know in chat if the audio is okay. We tuned it a little bit before the stream, but if for some reason you can't hear them or the audio balance is a little messed up, let us know.
I'm gonna be taking notes.
그래서 얼마큼 깊게 들어가면 좋을까요?
What do we think, druid buffs or not?
뭐 우리가 얘기할 수 있는 것들을 좀 적당히 잘 얘기해 주는 게 그러니까 플레이어분들이 만약에 궁금하다면
네,
사실
그래서
기사가 많이 나와서 한국 플레이어들은 그렇게 많이
Dude,
궁금하지
SDF looking swole, dude.
근데 뭐 이상하게 나온 것들이 있어서요.
엄청
그래서
많죠.
예. So, okay, sorry, yeah, just kind of clearing up like how deep we want to go, and I think it's gonna be, there's stuff that's a little bit sensitive. That's why I just wanted to make sure. But so I guess like the quick summary of what the result was. So I'll also go into like our expectation going in, and then why the last kind of 3 weeks we've kind of been, I'll be very honest, we've kind of been scrambling because the result that came out, didn't actually meet what we thought was going to happen, right? So I think we did kind of suffer from being a little too close to the case and knowing, the facts and stuff and being a little overconfident. So I think we thought we're going to come out with, a full victory, right? And basically what happened is it came out partial victory, partial defeat. Okay, so for deeper details about the lawsuit is that there was actually four main components of the case. So there was three charges against us, and then one charge that we brought against Nexon, right? So the one that we brought against Nexon, we were saying that, hey, they're obstructing our business, our ability to do business. And at that time, we brought forth, hey, they're interfering with us getting onto Steam and Epic, and but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot because during that case, we were able to get back on Steam and Epic. So the court was like, hey, wait, what's going on? What other? And we're like, okay, yeah, you're right. We can see that. So now it's the biggies, right? The three charges against us, and so the first one is the most important one for us was the copyright infringement, right?
Okay.
So that one was really dangerous because that's the DMCA, why we're first. That was the vector that they were able to use to take us out off of Steam originally, right? So this is why we were most concerned about that part, and so we put a lot of effort to show that, hey, these games are
Yes,
not.
Lavorg ended.
So in legal parlance, what matters is it has to be substantially similar, right? And so the other reason this was important for us is that the copyright laws in the U.S. and Korea are similar enough that
Not the bull cut, bro.
the ruling here could have a significant impact in the U.S., right? So hey, this is where we have to really put that effort in, and then so here we came out with the victory, right? So that charge was dismissed, and the court found that, hey, there's no significant similarities, right? And so this was, hey, this is where we thought the big fight was going to be. But then the second part was there's a unique law in Korea that was kind of amended in 2021 called unfair. It's called like the. I have my notes here, so.
The unfair competition.
Yeah, acts of unfair competition, and there's a specific art. Yeah, so there's a special part in there called Article Number 2. It's basically is like, again, it's in Korean, but this is like the the legal translation is like, where infringing on another person's economic achievements. So that's the key word there is achievements without their permission in a manner contrary to fair commercial practices or competition, and so this one was scary for us, even though this is a more Korea-specific law. There's not like a contrary law in the U.S., right? But for us is we were very worried about this new law here because if we're found guilty of this charge, the court could order us to shut down service. So this was like a very, very serious charge for us, right? And so we're like, okay. And so we put, again, extremely large amount of effort, our limited legal resources to fight this charge. And again, luckily, or not luckily, I think we put in the effort, and that's why we had that confidence. And so the result met our expectation. We came out with victorious on this one. And so the court found that dismissed this. Basically, they said on Nexon's claim of unfair competition through misuse of achievements, basically court said we do not recognize that the P3 project related outputs specified by the opposing party actually meets the bar of what designates achievements, right? And so basically they said, hey, what you guys did, it really doesn't have any commercial value, it's like you just, and so going through that, we're like, oh, okay, that's awesome. But now it's on the third part. So this is actually a subclause of that acts of unfair competition part. There's a part about trade secrets, right? And so it's like, that Article 2, there's a subclause 3/D, okay, this is where it goes into. It's basically, it's called infringement of trade secrets, right? And the thing was, so this is something we kind of now are more aware of now because of the result. And this is a place we actually use, again, we had limited legal resources, limited time, and we actually had to use a lot of our internal, even the development, the company resources to because, the lawsuit is kind of existential for the company, right? And so we're like, okay, we have to put in all our guns. But then with the amount of, but at the same time, we have to deliver on the game, right?
Right.
And things are slowing down because of this. And so, so on this part, we put less effort because for us, first of all, on the trade secret stuff, factually, we didn't take any of their stuff, right? We didn't use any stuff, so we're like, hey, the facts should speak for themselves, and so we'll just start listing all the facts, and that should be enough, right? And so for us, it was, again, in hindsight, things are 2020, but for us, we're pretty just overconfident that, hey, because we didn't do what they're charging us with, there's no way we're going to be, they could find us guilty for this, right? And so what happened is, so it gets pretty technical here, but then the trade secrets, the court actually looked at it as two separate parts, right?
This is
so
Terrence.
The first part is
SDF's on
they
the
call
left.
it trade secret materials, okay? And so this is like the actual assets or actual data. And they, again, here, on their claim of trade secret materials, the court said, hey, the Iron Mace executives, we do not find any evidence that they leaked or used P3 related data. And so we're like, of course, right? Because, so there's a little backstory too, is in December, there is the criminal case that was going on.
Taco Bell.
And so, we got raided a couple times. So like my house got raided,
Oh, I didn't even know your house got raided.
Dude, they got raided?
Yeah, it's kind of frightening.
That was just the office, wow.
They're real ones, dude. They're little
I'm sure
urban
that must have
boys.
been pretty upsetting for the family.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's it's things it's kind of out of your nightmare, But it's like, okay, hey, you have some kind of trust in the system, right, to go through this. And so the company, they took our source code, and then it took them forever to get the analysis going. So it actually went, the police confiscated all our stuff, our servers, our data. They looked through our phones, they looked through our messages. I mean, it was pretty...
The police? What?
Intrusive, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, we want to get to the bottom of this. And what happened is, so they sent the all our data to, they have in Korea, it's like a national police, right? Mm-hmm. So it actually went to the national forensics, right? And then on top of that, they have another, a separate forensics lab, data forensics lab that specializes in copyrights. And so they were like, oh, because this case blew up in the public here too, is that it got sent to there too, right? And so you have two separate places that are doing, scrutinizing this. And then basically what happened is I think it was last November, December, the police, they said, oh, okay, you know what? We went through all of this and we're gonna actually dismiss those charges. So yeah. I was actually, had a criminal charge against me. and they're like, okay, yeah, we didn't find it. There's no
That's
evidence
crazy.
for that. And so that's why we were so kind of overconfident.
Yo, Korea's
going in.
cooked,
Like,
bro.
hey, okay, police didn't, there's nothing. They've put in their report, and the court. We added that to our docket, saying, hey, this is extra evidence that shows that we don't have any of their stuff. We never used any of their stuff, so they're never how can they find in favor for trade secrets? But the problem that now we're coming up against is what they did find. They recognize as a charge is there's something called trade secret information. Okay, so it's separate from the trade secret materials, and so basically. So we're like, okay, what is the trade secret information that we're guilty of using, right? So is it like some kind of, so okay, I'll go into what they recognize is actually our memories from when we were working.
Ain't no way.
At Nexon on that Project P3. It literally in the summary document is that it's our memories from working there, and it's the basically like the collective generalization of these core components. So of like an FPS game, and when he was leading that project, it's an FPS game that has RPG elements, it has a fantasy setting, it had a tavern, it had PvPvE, and back then they had considerations for extraction, but that was never actually executed. And because of that,
And the ranking system.
Dude,
yeah,
that's
and
cooked,
so,
bro. I can't believe that.
So there's going to be, he mentioned that there's going to be leaderboards, there's going to be a shop in the game.
Yes, all things only Nexon could have known, right?
Yeah. So to us was like, first of all, for us to even kind of comprehend that we would have to justify, this being the trade secret information like that.
That was actually maybe Apex Legends screenshot.
Yeah. So no, it's not. This lawsuit was pretty comprehensive. Like they came in, we had to give him access to, the police took like all our the design documents, all these processes. So they had all these things to compare, and what they come up with is like a screenshot of, because we didn't make any leaderboards or anything like of Apex Legends. Oh, there's a lobby with the 3 people standing together. So, but,
한 10초 만에 만들 수 있는.
yeah. So to us was, wait, so they're getting us on the ideation and that combination of these kind of very generalized concepts, right? And then the evidence that the court presented as us using that is, first of all, it's they charged the 2 of us having these memories and utilizing those memories, and that's why Dark and Darker got built the way that it is right now. But they said at the same time we infringe on trade secrets because maybe our memory was not good enough, and so we had to recruit other people from P3 that also had those memories, and that's why Dark and Darker got built, right? So for us is, we looked at this, and the issue here is that that's what they recognize as the trade secret information. I think we talked with the law firm, our lawyers, and we think we have justification for appealing this.
Is there a countersuit in play for this?
So the thing is, so I'll give you the up-to-date information now, is that we've actually put in a formal appeal to the decision. So last week. So this is why for like a week and a half we're kind of in just shock, You know, it was like, oh my, is this even possible? What happened? How can this, you know? It was just like going back and forth with the lawyers too. It was like, what does this mean? Like, you know, and I'll be honest, like our faith in the justice system dropped dramatically after this
Bro,
this
you're in
ruling
Korea,
came out,
bro.
right?
It's not America. There ain't no justice over
But
there.
then the thing that bothered us even more was, they have no, you know, what they stated as evidence for us having that trade secret information was basically, wait,
STF's on the left.
court concluded that we used this P3 information and to save cost, and the evidence is because we made the game so quickly, we didn't have enough evidence of like pre-production processes, right? That Nexon said is, hey, these are prerequisites for making a game properly. And I was like, dude, the reason we don't have those processes, and the actual reason we were able to make it quickly is because all that stuff that they think is necessary, we think is BS, right?
아이고, PS3보다 빠르지도 않았어요. 우리가 더 느려.
Yeah.
Well,
And so yeah,
what was their assertion against the fact that, I mean, the game's built on Unreal Engine. Anyone could potentially just build the similar game on Unreal Engine. So what was the assertion there on their end that you could possibly have built it based on their code if it was built on a different engine?
So again, now, you know, everything's 2020 in hindsight, right? We're looking at this and we're like, what's the issue here, right? I think one thing for sure is like the judges, right? First of all, they're not even gamers. So you have to, like, what we take for granted is, and then you have to explain, right? And then the second thing is, and you have an opposing party who has, you know, all this cash saying, hey, we're the foremost authority on what actual games are. And then they're not game developers too, right? So then this is the way to properly make games. And so, you know, and for us, it was like, hey, I think this is part of our weakness was being too close. Is like, oh, you know, that's BS, you know. There's multiple ways, and we you know, we did counter it, but it was just like a couple sentences say, you know, we didn't do it because that's not the way that we do it, right? And it's like, so basically they're saying, hey, because we didn't have those kind of processes, the pre-processes, and we moved so quickly, we must have had that kind of information to utilize to build Dark and Darker better, faster.
그런 거니까 장르 선정하는데 고민하지 않았다.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah, in it, it's like one of the listings for evidence is, oh, they didn't have a meeting about what kind of genre that they wanted to build the game in, right? And it's like, hey, you're an indie studio. I think, you know, probably you should have some idea of what you want to make before, you know, you start up a small team, right?
You don't just get a group of developers together in an office one day and go, all right, we're making a game.
But and then the second, another wow is, hey, we had a server programmer on our team from day one, but you know, when we're on the Project P3, we didn't have a server programmer. Like, this is gonna be shocking.
Actually, I bring him.
Yeah.
But
so he did. STF actually recruited our server programmer.
My friend.
Yeah, his friend to P3, and then he got fired. And so that guy joined.
3 days.
He was there. He's like, "Hey, wait, what happened?" And so he's like, "Okay, I quit." So, but the thing was, so the court is like, "Hey, you guys had a server programmer. Oh, that must mean that you guys are scheming." Because, you know, how'd you guys know that you would need a server program for day one? And we're like,
it's not the replacement show. This is the actual dev
show. All right, so this is painting a pretty clear picture that it's mostly just an understanding issue from the court's side of things. And that's not uncommon. Just to clarify, that's a problem that we see in the States as well, that there are parts of the courts that are just not equipped with professionals who understand this stuff in order to set the regulation for it.
So the most kind of disappointing part about that is because they, you know, okay, they don't understand that, they, you know, we're guilty. but then the amount of damages that they awarded was for us was that's also doesn't make any sense, right? And so they go through. There's a whole bunch of so that judgment document that came out. At first, we were like, oh, it was like over 500 pages. We're like, what the heck? But then a lot of it is just like file names that they were like, oh, this was all leaked at the,
I want to know
if
about
you list like all the files in like a project,
Right.
it's gonna be hundreds and hundreds of pages. So the actual content was, the meat was like 80 pages of it. And so like the first 60 pages, we're like, yes, this is awesome, great, great, great. It was like, wait, what the heck is the last like 20 pages? What's going on? And then the justification that they had for why they rewarded those damages at that amount just didn't make any sense for us, right? And we're just like, even if, okay, all of that constitutes trade secret information, and we're guilty for thinking of FPS fantasy with a tavern and RPG elements with those classes, and that's why Dark and Darker succeeded. Okay, let's say, or that but basically the court awarded all our profits from after, and so the other thing is like you have like NDAs and stuff, right?
Oh, so
and
all the profits had to go.
They
to
have
Nexon.
like a thing like
Wow.
even for memories, it has like a limit of a time period of protection, right? And so the judge said, oh, okay, we it's 2 years is that protection period, but then they're like, oh, but then if for the first 2 years when we're developing the game, we're working on the game, we didn't make any money, so they're like, oh, but that's kind of unfair. So
Carno,
we're
go to YouTube.
arbitrarily gonna
There's no
set
ads on YouTube, boys.
Even though the protection period expired, we're gonna set the penalty period starting from when you guys actually started making money, and then that's why we have to pay the full amount. And so for us, that's the bigger, harder cookie to swallow right now. It's like, okay, and so that's part of our motivation is like, okay, this doesn't feel like justice, right? And so we have to kind of do. So I do believe we do have to do a better job of presenting, the case in a way that the layman, people that don't know the ins and outs of development, the difference between like how big studios and how in indie studios work, and so that was confidence kind of blinded us that way, and so but at the very least that the damages awarded just doesn't make any sense for us, right? Even following that the court's logic that they wrote in that.
So in summary, the case is far from over at this point. There needs to be basically a rebuttal.
So we put in our appeals, and so up to date, this week, the opposing party, they're not satisfied either, I guess, right? Because they've been pushing. They built this huge narrative about we stole this P3, and
They doubled down too for twice the price. I think they appealed to charge them 12
people that have
instead of
actually
6.
played it, they're like, what? How do you I mean, again, it's FPS and there's it's in a similar genre in the setting, but it's like execution and vision and all the little details is just it's such a vastly different experience, right? And the court saw that, right? When we went to this court, so the preliminary injunction, the difference is we weren't able to force the opposing party to present the actual product. We were like, hey, you have to play it, you have to see it in motion, because the narrative that they've always been pushing is like, oh, these 2 screenshots, right? And you could put these kind of 2 screenshots in, but oh wait, that looks very similar. But the reality of it is the gameplay really makes a big difference. Okay, sorry. So I'm getting. Hey, we're kind of dragging too long on this issue, but it was just like
So in summary, as I said, the case is not over. As far as the copyright aspect of it, which is what threatens the actual operation of the game, that is clear. So we're good on that end, which means Dark and Darker is not going anywhere.
So yeah, the last part I wanted to mention was that they, on their side, the opposing side, has also appealed. So it's going to be,
Gotcha.
again, this is one big package. We're going
twice as much.
Very, very likely. This fight is going to extend. We're going to the appellate court. They're going to probably try to attack that the copyright, it is similar. Yeah. But again, I think we made, our case there was beyond, we made a very, very compelling, strong case on both those sides. So,
they're talking about patch and stuff.
We're ready. We have our armor on. We're ready for that. It's just like, hey, this other part, like that kind of did blindside us, and so I think we have to be better prepared for that. And we have,
we cleared normals. We're geared up for high roller lawsuit now.
So yeah, we're heading to high roller. So today's, this is like the gloomy stuff. This is the stuff that's like
we have lots of exciting stuff to talk about. We just want to get all this out of the way first.
It was a horrible last 2 weeks, but we have, out of that fire, hopefully, we have much more optimistic things to talk about, right? So, the other two parts I'll go over really quickly because so the craft on stuff, that actually was in motion way before this the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually, stuff like this was actually going on when even, together, because we're, both close to the case, both sides were pretty optimistic. Okay. But the thing was, I think, they had a different strategy for their mobile product than, and I think there might have been a little bit, like a little bit of impatience on us because we readily admit we've gotten slower at development, over the last year.
At least
and I think that was the thing. It was like, hey, you guys aren't really, we were hoping that you guys would make all this extra new content and things are gonna blow, and that's not actually going as we thought. It was like, hey, so the thing was, all of that discussion was already being done before, and before any of that lawsuit. And again, the background is that we both sides thought, hey, we have a home run case, right? So it was more of a kind of a business decision. It was kind of so it was a very amicable.
Your band, Gordon.
We're like, hey, okay, we had some misunderstandings about the expectations, and so. And keeping it going this way, it's we have obligations to each other, mm-hmm. that it kind of doesn't make sense, of the effort that we put in and what we expect to get out, right? It's like, okay, but let's keep close, let's be friends. So that's what happened, right? So it's not just not like, oh my god,
just different paths, really.
It's horrible timing.
It is bad timing.
And when that happened, because it was it leaked, right? So that because we were still in negotiations, because there's nitty gritty parts of any contract, right? It's like, and so it wasn't a done deal. It's like, okay, what do we do about this thing, And so, but it leaked before it's concluded, and it just happened to happen right after this blindsided decision that came out, right? So horrible timing. So the epic thing, and this was important. Again, we're trying to digest this, right? Because I literally got that call from our contact at Epic two nights ago. Say, hey, I have bad news.
It's gonna be longer now,
and this is coming down from internally from their legal lead, and it's like, hey, we have to delist you guys. And it was just like, okay, so we haven't pressed the issue or whatever. I think it's just more, okay. So I don't want to speak out because it's all going to be based on assumption right now, right? It was just like, okay, But the way that it was kind of delivered was like, oh, it was already like, they're pretty clear cut that that's what their decision and that's how they're going to go.
It was already decided. It wasn't really a conversation.
Epic has zero tolerance for anything.
Exactly. Right. So for us it's more like, okay, then, it hurts because we have a lot of respect for the people that we work with directly at Epic. Like they're just great people, just people in general.
I met some of the Epic guys when I was out there in November, and yeah,
it's coming up next.
It was great. I mean,
I can't.
It came as much of a surprise to me as it did to you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I think so we're still in that kind of phase of trying to figure out, digest what's going on. So yeah, but that's it. It's like it really did feel like, oh, their hands were tied, right? So just to address, at least for because I know people are concerned about what's going to happen with their accounts. For the time being, at least, accounts are still playable. If you have an account on Epic, you can still play the game there. You just can't acquire the game there anymore. And we, as SDF mentioned, if anything happens where suddenly it becomes unavailable, we'll do what we need to make sure that people who have accounts on there can still play the game. So our thing is our concern is for our players, right? Is, hey, figure out, it's really unfortunate that this event occurred, but instead of just mulling over, it's like, okay, so we put in an emergency team, like, okay, so these are the scenarios.
This is just not the case.
If it could continue, then that's not an issue, but we have to be aware of like, hey, maybe they might actually take it off the platform.
What if I do this?
And so we're putting into action, like, okay,
does this help?
What do we prepare to do, to help those people continue playing the game with the assets they have. Experience. So
when comparing it to, sorry, go ahead.
It sucks because we want to work on actual, like fun, cool, and these things keep on like coming out, So.
Are you saying you didn't go to law school? You didn't want to do this full time?
Dude, I never wanted to be even a business.
It's so funny.
So he savors and this is life, right? This is all that. Like, I'm the guy that's like, man, I just want this safe little cabin on the hill.
I feel that.
Yeah, but
on
these gray hairs didn't pop up for no reason,
It's funny looking at some pictures over the last few years. It's clear the stress has been. I'm glad that it's slowed down. Like the development cycle slowed down a little bit to a more reasonable level because it was getting pretty insane. I remember when I was there, SDF was at the office still until 1 o'clock in the morning. One of the nights I was there. So it's good to see it slowing down. And just a quick closing thought on the Epic thing. At least for now, like I said, the game is still available, and in a lot of instances when games get delisted because they move platforms or they're just not available for sale anymore, the game stays available. Rocket League was an example that a lot of people brought up, which is that you can still play it on Steam, and we're hoping that's what happens.
Yeah, so we're reaching out to our lawyers to figure out, hey, okay, what, where's the boundary of like what we should be considering and stuff. So,
right.
So hopefully, you bring it. I feel like my legal skills have significantly improved, but still, like, I'm not a lawyer. Again, so at the same time, what I was talking about, this is my personal perspective of looking at it. And from the information that I've received here is like, oh, okay, so this is why we're in this situation again. But yeah, so the fight is gonna continue. We're ready for the the long fight.
Over 10 years.
Yeah. So what he always says is like when that first, he's like, dude, it's gonna be 10 years, right? We're ready to fight 10 years, right?
So we need to service this game 10 years.
Yeah, and we have to service the game for over 10 years.
You heard it here, guys. 10 years.
So again, the other thing is like we built up a war chest because the expectation was that the fight was gonna you know, like my personal expectation was like at least when we get to the second stage, because even if we got the full victory, what we were thinking is that they're gonna appeal anyways, so we have to fight anyway. And so, but so yeah, that last message is like financially it hurts, but it's not that, you know.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Darker Darker is here to stay.
We had that preparation there, so.
100 years Dark and Darker. So I know it's, you know, this was a tough topic to start the stream off with, but we wanted to get it out of the way because now we get to talk about the exciting stuff, which is we've got plenty to go over. We're working off lists on our phones here as we go because their printers aren't working, neither is mine. So bear with us as we kind of just read down the list and stuff. But the first thing that we wanted to talk about was kind of actually address the community. And we're, you know, you probably have noticed Grayson is a lot more active in chat. We've sort of moved some things around to try to get a little bit more engaged with the community, and this is part of a strategy to communicate more with you guys on many fronts. That includes things like utilizing the known bugs channel. We're still working out the exact details on how we're going to use it, but we're thinking about ways where players might be able to report there with visibility from us, with like reactions to show that we're acknowledging these issues. Working on workflows internally to make sure that those things get reported to the team and taken care of quicker. Historically, we've had some problems with bugs that stick around for too long just because we don't know about them. There's, you know, sometimes they get swept under the table, and that's just, you know, the nature of development. But with this, we're hoping to improve the tracking and accountability for that. But we also want to be a little bit more transparent. Obviously, throughout the lawsuit, things were pretty hush-hush. We had to be very careful about what we talked about, and we had to be very close to the chest about basically anything because it could put us at a disadvantage in the lawsuit. So now that we're sort of, obviously we're not clear of it as we just talked about, but now that we're in a better position, we're more comfortable talking about those things. So you can expect more transparency from us in the chat. And that also involves getting responses from players and taking that feedback, talking about it internally and processing it in a more efficient manner. So with all that said, we do have a ton of cool stuff to share with you guys. And obviously, as feedback comes in after these things are pushed live, we'll make the adjustments, but it'll take a little bit before you start to really see the effects of that. So bear with us. But I want to talk about something that was brought up at a recent in-house meeting, which is that the team is now looking to experiment more, and SCF kind of gave his blessing to everyone to say, let's start really trying some new stuff. Let's really kind of think outside the box and don't be afraid to be a little adventurous. You guys want to talk about kind of the trust with the team leads and how the development for that has been coming along?
그냥 설명해볼까요?
네.
Yeah, so yeah.
한글로 말하고 번역하는
That would be
건가요?
cooked Kahil.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just paraphrase. I was at that same meeting, right? So
I was translating using DeepL, but I got the gist of it.
Yeah, but so it does, you know, I think in the community, you know, there's been some buzz about like, that kind of managerial style. There's been criticism for, you know, that kind of micromanaging style. That
Iron Chef SDF.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, you know, at first it's like, oh, Eagle is hurt, but at the same time it's like, hey, there's that was a moment of introspection. It's like, okay, wait. So, and so again, context really matters, but there are things that because of that method was it is a big bottleneck, right? And so it was like, okay, he tells me after, you know, like all last week, he's like, dude, I don't want to be like, I hate managing. That's what he says. He's like,
He just wants to work on the game too.
He just wants to, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, why, you know, it's like, this is not something I enjoy. And why is everyone, you know, the situation comes up? Yeah.
Focus on core.
Yeah. And so the thing was like, oh, okay. And I think this is a thing that we're trying to, you know, again, there's very many different ways, thinking styles here, right? And so it was like, okay, what is the, like, not so much, okay, this is an issue, but how do we get beyond this, right? It's like, yeah, that is an issue that SDF has to confirm everything, right? And it's like, and it's just making the overall quality of the product worse, right? So I think that's the other thing that we kind of getting from the sentiment right now. It's like slowing things down, and it's like not enough news. And so how do we fix this, right? And so he was like, okay, let's get down to the core issue. It's like, I have my hands in too many things all at once right now, right? And it's like, there's things that actually I don't, you know, I don't really need to be involved with. And there's some things that I should really be involved with. And so, but because there's this overflow of information coming in, it's like, first of all, you know, you have to do context switching all the time. And then at the same time, because you have this flood, is like, even prioritizing this is, so it's like, okay, in big categories. And this kind of came down to like, hey, what's the most important thing? Where can he bring the most amount of value? Is for Dark and Darker, I think a lot of the original why people fell in love with the game is because of the core gameplay itself, right? And just having that kind of unique feeling, that first person fantasy power, you know, power fantasy that you could fulfill in here. But the thing was,
Listen,
then
hear me out.
there's, you know, so this is
Don't
a
redeem
generalization
anything.
of like game
Some-
development.
somebody has to
how we
say
do
it,
here
dude.
is that there's
Don't
core
redeem
gameplay
anything so people
development,
can
there's the
hear.
system stuff. That's my area of expertise. So that's where I've been, you know, that's my experience for like the last 20 years. And then there's like the content stuff.
To help
stuff on that.
to help people understand what each of those layers is, can you give examples of something that belongs to the core, something that belongs to like the systems, and then the wrappers around that?
Yeah. So the core, we would say, especially for our game, is like the combat. So anything that has to do with the actual, like the moment to moment, so like movement.
The basic movement.
Yeah, movement is actually
Blocking.
like blocking. So all the stuff that everyone hates us for right now.
Blocking,
Right?
long sword.
Movement, like, so all these things that are so critical, right? But the thing was like, so, and you guys have been very loud and clear, like, hey, these are things that are being ignored, right? And the thing is, it's not, like he said, he didn't take up this job because, oh, I love managing people. It's the opposite. It's like, oh, I just want to work on making freaking cool stuff for the game, right? But being in this kind of, being thrown into this leadership role is like, hey, where everyone's expecting it, and we have all these external challenges. It's like, oh, okay, you have these super responsibilities. So it's like, okay, I'm a leader, I'm gonna take all the responsibilities, right? And then that was kind of the internal, you know, introspection. It's like, hey, wait, but moving fast while, you know, we had to fight, having a very clear, concise, you know, direction, that's great for that. But then now we're in that growing stage, right? And we try to grow, and then using this process, it just hinders everything, right? Everything now gets, you have 100 people all saying, hey, Dad, is this okay? Is it, you know, it's like, oh, wait.
그러니까 개발 초기에는, 회사 초기에는 사람이 적으니까, 그리고 자본도 거의 없었고,
Yeah.
뭐 사람들은 우리가 엄청 큰 투자 받은 줄 알지만 돈이 아예 없어서 맨날 빌려서 했기 때문에 그때는 이제 실패가 허용되지 않았고, 그래서 어떻게 보면은 최대한 한 사람이 디자인한 것처럼 나와야 했고, 그래서 이제 컨펌을 다 했던 거죠. 근데 지금은 이제 사람들이 많아지고 훨씬 더 회사가 커졌기 때문에
Those mugs are gas. I want one of those mugs.
그리고 그거도 이제 그러니까 그 베이스, yeah. So what he's saying is when we started,
프로세스를 이제 바꿀 필요가 있는 거죠.
Yeah.
그 과도기에 있는 거예요.
yeah. So the difference is that we have to, the company's at a different stage from what it was before, and the issue is we were trying to run the company like it was still at the first stage, where like the first stage was like, hey, we had, you know, very few people, we had no money, you know, there's this
10 people in a gym.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's this kind of false narrative that, oh, we had this huge, you know, some rich daddy that came in and just like, hey, like like there was multiple times like I was like, dude, how are we gonna pay salary, or, you know, like I had to put in personal loan. We had to go beg, it's like the stereotypical, like prototypical, like startup journey, right? But at that time is because the stakes were so high, it was like, okay, we couldn't afford to have mistakes. And so that's why it was like, okay, if there's a mistake, I take full responsibility for those mistakes. And so that's why I'm gonna make every decision, because if there's a wrong decision, you don't need to worry about it. I have to worry about it. But once we're past that stage, we're now at, almost 90 people, right? A little under.
90.
Yeah, 90. But it's like, you can't be, anyone that's raised kids is like, hey, 1, 2, but it's not linear. It's like,
Right.
responsibility, it goes up exponentially, like the attention that you have to give, right? And so that's the state. Is like, oh, okay, and actually we do a disservice is trying to be that kind of helicopter parent, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take all the. Now is that stage. So this is that big, the town hall talk yesterday. It was like, hey, you know what? It's really scary, even for me too. But now I have to let you guys go, and you guys have to fail.
Well, this is also important because it shows. I think this is great for the players to know, but also it's great for the company because it shows trust that the team leaders who have been here for a while now have sort of proven that they should be trusted with this responsibility, which is, I think that's important, because it means that they've got enough experience under their wings to start doing interesting and fun things and take some risks and actually try to do some crazy stuff, and maybe it'll fail, but maybe we learn something from it.
So again, my weakness is I'm always too long-winded, right? So
you don't say.
We're talking about a lot of these abstract stuff, but the change, the reason I'm giving this backstory is because so he realized, okay, I have to delegate, and I'm so sorry to, like, we had really excellent people that were here that's no longer here, and this, if they were here now at this new stage, maybe it would be a different story. So, but the thing is, because he could delegate, now he could start focusing his attention on specific parts, right? So the thing is, like, the big decision is like, okay, what was the biggest value was, hey, focusing on the core gameplay stuff, right? Like trying to do all the content stuff, trying to do extra system stuff is like, he doesn't have as much experience there, but like with the core stuff, that was all being ignored, right? But that was what made the game so great from at the beginning, right? And so that's the concrete message. The abstract is this is all in the background. The concrete, what's actually going to happen is he's going to focus back on the core stuff.
Just one day, but
yeah. So even one, so
bunny hopping will be gone.
So I'm bringing this up because all day yesterday, all he was working on was bunny hopping, and trying to get rid of bunny hopping.
You hear that, chat? I want to stop for a second to talk about that, because this has probably been one of the things that people have been the most concerned about, is that we were just going to blow past all of the gameplay issues and the system issues and not care about all this stuff, because we brought it up 5 months ago but then never touched it. As we're working on the bunny hopping thing, I'm sure there's a lot of people in chat that are very excited to hear about that.
Yeah, so but you need to have this background context to understand why everything took so long, and then to also know, like, he worked on bunny hopping for 1 day, and
also that goddamn hot swap.
The hot swap, yeah, like, the hot swap. Yeah.
Fixed also.
So this is because he's able to focus on now, instead of micromanaging everything. It was like, okay, you know what? Last week we had this and the community obviously contributed too. It's like, hey, what is the issue here, you guys? And it's like, okay, let's do it. I'm gonna let go. The content stuff. So the content stuff is now, he's like, hey, if it goes bad, don't blame me anymore. Now you guys do the blame. Right? But if the bunny hopping stuff, if the hot swapping, that stuff, yeah, you know what? That's my wheelhouse. The throwing, yeah,
insanely, that will be fixed also.
So basically, he worked on this 1 day, and now I'm very hopeful because even after last night, I was like, oh, he's like, okay, why is this acceleration vector still here? Okay, what? So it's not gonna be a perfect solution, but I think we're gonna get the first, protection against that coming in this next patch, right?
Yeah, maybe I think it's enough.
Yeah. So he's very confident already, right? So it's coming in 오늘 할 거예요? 모르죠.
Yeah, today.
Yeah. So today, so one day of effort, actual concentrated focus on it, and we're gonna have a solution from bunny hopping, right? And so the thing was, hey, block. Yeah. So okay,
Bunny
blocking
hopping gone
is-
today? W? W?
I mean, we just got started. Give us a
Can I-
little
so-
breathing room. Right?
Like,
근데 거기는 이제 그 네트워크 이슈가 레이턴시 이슈가 더 큰 거라서.
Yeah.
근데 그래도 뭔가 do something. Yeah, we will do something. Don't worry.
So
That means
he just
patches
say,
today.
The blocking issue is a little bit more technically
네, 그래서
challenging because of network issues, right?
Right.
So that
it's heavily dependent on latency, right? And it's really like client, or it's really on the attacker's side.
yeah. So again, this is just a lot of words, but I think so. Bunny hopping, that's something concrete, and hopefully, if you guys will see that in the pudding with the patch, right? And so we want to start talking with our actions again. And so if he's focusing on that stuff, so maybe so on the system side, that's the part that I'm gonna have a little bit more leverage on now, right? That and on the content side, we have our other lead game designer here, and he.
Do you guys want me to keep the notes up or no?
Things are kind of funky there. That you know who to blame over there, right? But again, it's just we've been working as a team together, and kind of getting that team chemistry working for the last 2 years. So I think now having
Read the notes, Kat.
these spheres have a lot more freedom is gonna hopefully make actual content come out faster.
So
Again, this was implemented this week, like yesterday. So we have yet to see. It's going to take a little bit of ramping up time.
this is going to also be part of the feedback cycle that we were talking about, where once these things get implemented, we will be paying very close attention to how it impacts players and what the expectation is to resolve it, or sort of what the ideas are around it. And as much as I want to continue with this topic, we do have still a lot of stuff to get through, and we don't have too much time to do it because I know STF has some appointments later. So on the topic of actually like trying to get into experimenting and trying things, there was a mention of pretty major change coming between distinguishing normals and HR from each other, and that means returning to a more hardcore version of HR. You guys want to talk about that, because I know that's one of the big things that people are really interested in hearing about, and I think it's it's going to be interesting.
They're interested, and they're a little worried, right? That's the other aspect.
그래서 하드코어 무슨 뜻인지 잘 설명해줘야 될 것 같아요. 그냥
뭐
옛날로 돌아가는 거죠. 그러니까 이제 그
okay. So
그 머지할 생각을 버리는 거죠.
yeah. So I think so like we're two very different type of game players, right? And so the thing was like, he's very competitive, very, very, very competitive, right? And just like likes that kind of the grinding, high tension. And for us, I think that's a great way to build a solid core gameplay, right? So like the combat, making those things very solid, right? But the thing is that when we came out, that was very, very attractive, and a lot of people got onto it. But then at the same time, because it's so brutal, it made it, the accessibility very, very difficult. And so for me, I'm a little bit a step down there, and I was like, hey, if we want to make this a more mass appeal, I'm not trying to make it I realize this is still a niche hardcore game, but that, hey, this is maybe a little bit too difficult for people to really get into easily, and it's like maybe we could bring it down a little. And so this was that kind of constant struggle back and forth for like the last year and a half, right? And so you've seen now is that we've made a lot of changes to make to the normal dungeons. Actually, so we applied that stuff universally because we had this kind of philosophy. Is like, hey, the high roller and the normal is like it's kind of this one kind of continuous path, right? And then we had this assumption that hey, you start here and eventually every single person should be playing high roller, right?
And we know from the 50% that are in 0 to 24 that is not true.
Yeah, but so the thing is like, so I think that the context of or that message kind of got lost. Is like, hey, it's not a bad thing that the 50% of the people are playing that. Yeah, that was the realization that we made. It was like, oh, people. So that, but the thing is, hey, now, so that was actually like a signal to us as, oh, okay, we succeeded in that second quest of making the game more accessible, right? That kind of pulling it down. But the thing is, now the issue for us is like, hey, it's lost a lot of that. It's kind of diluted a lot of that, the uniqueness, that the flavor, that the original game had, right?
The hardcore experience. There was no Squire gear. You didn't get potions to start with. If you sat down, you lost your rest of health. Everything was brutal. You would not, when you first started playing the game, you wouldn't expect to extract for 100 hours, and when you did, it was a very exciting thing.
Exactly. And so the thing was like, so that was the difference is that we had this talk is like last week or 2 weeks ago. It was like, you know what? He's like, the high roller shouldn't be for everyone. It's actually, that's the hindrance. That's what's making the game actually worse. It's like, hey, it's like in WoW, you have the 40-man dungeon. It's not, you don't expect every single person to be able to go and defeat that, or you don't expect every single person to be playing at the top scale of like Counter-Strike ranked or whatever, right? It's like, hey, this should be its own unique experience. And so it's like, hey, now this is my playground for my original vision of that kind of super brutal. And so I was like, dude, go for it, right? So that was our whole struggle back and forth. It's like, okay, but it's like, now we have this kind of space here where people could kind of start acclimating, and it's like, hey, the people that do want to take it to that next level, we lost that playground, right, bringing everything down here. But the thing was like, hey, but in actuality, what was the thing that made this game really unique and sexy was that those points, right? And so it's like, okay, go hog wild on what your original vision for that.
So we've got the context. Now we know.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Again, we're really, really sorry that this is happening mid season. But the thing was like, hey, first of all, he's super. Oh man, okay, I get to do what I really, really wanted to, right? But the issue is we know that because of the new systems with the random dungeon system, the continuous, is that we can't just. So the original plan was we're gonna go back to like the original system with the random portals, the dark swarm for the high rollers.
Wait,
right?
what?
So you're not guaranteed to make it out.
We're going back to the random portals?
So,
yo!
It's gonna be a brutal survival rate for the high rollers. But the thing is like, but we have all these additional systems and we don't know how this is gonna all play nice together, right? And it's like, I'll be pretty transparent. It's like, we don't, internally too, is like not all the people here, we don't have enough resources that could play at the very highest levels inside the company, right? And so the thing is like, if we want to do with that limited resources within the company to just fine tune all this, it's gonna take forever. And so we're like, okay, we have this concept and we want to bring back that kind of original appeal of the hardcore, but we want to do it soon and we want to get it fine-tuned and ready enough for the next season. But the only way we could do that is that we have to start working on it, testing it, fine-tuning it.
노멀에는 없을 거예요.
네?
그러니까 high roller only.
So this is high roller only.
That's not going to affect normal dungeons, everybody.
We need your help. Yeah. Again, so it is going back to test server. We really, it sucks, but it's just it's a matter of doing it. Can we do it internally? no, that's kind of it's gonna take too long.
I do want to quickly address one point that people have brought up in chat, and this is something that we've talked about before. We've been asked if we're going to do something like this, use the test servers, and we've tried this in the past, and overwhelmingly the issue with using the test servers for these things is that people don't play it. We get a lot of tourism on the test servers where people will go and they will see the new changes and they'll say, okay, here's what's here, but then they don't actually stay on and play it. So we don't typically get very good feedback from test server use cases. But the idea with our improvement to communication and trying to move faster to react to problems is that if we run into situations where something that we've now pushed live is on the server and people are saying overwhelmingly this isn't good, it needs to change for this reason, or that something mechanically is wrong with it, we will be able to react faster to it, because that's kind of what our new communication strategy is, to say, hey, the community is trying this new thing that we've pushed live, and everybody's like, actually this doesn't work, and like it's being abused and people hate it and it's ruining the game. The intention is to be able to respond to that feedback quicker.
Well, we need to get
and
the fuck
actually
out of
make
here.
changes instead of letting them sit for however many months. Test server unfortunately just really hasn't given us that capacity, so the communication and like quick reaction to things is more the strategy now.
Well, so again, because this kind of internal change is pretty recent, and so the other thing I do want to say is like, hey, we haven't given up on the test server. It's actually we do want to utilize it. Again, there was so many things vying for priority. It was like, and so everything became the same. And I think this is something that we're gonna have to relook at.
Right.
Like you're saying, is that communication, that was another big downfall for us recently. I think it is kind of this perfect storm of bad stuff timing. Like the first one was, we had the Lunar New Year's here, and people were kind of burnt out. So it was just like, hey. You guys take a rest, so it was just like nothing, like literally nothing was going on for a week here, and then we did that drop, and then the lawsuit stuff was a big mental distraction too, right? And so it's just like a little bit of that shell shock. We're kind of coming out of it now, right? Like having this talk and being it is pretty whatever that word is, right? Reinvigorating, right. Okay. So
yeah, just to clarify, it doesn't mean the test server is never going to happen. It just means that the current iteration of it hasn't worked the way we wanted it to. So
exactly, yeah,
we're constantly thinking about ways and talking about it in meetings. How can we incentivize the use of a test server? What's the best use case for it? Is there a way to limit access to it that makes it useful to us? It's not like we're never going to use test server, just kind of explaining why it hasn't worked for us to this point.
Yeah, so exactly. Current implementation needs a lot of work. When and where that work's going to happen is, we haven't rescheduled that yet.
Right.
But we'll see. But like communication, so Grayson, so I think, background here was like, for Grayson, it was like he was working at the office, but a majority of the people on our Discord are international, right? So the time zones didn't match up. So now we're like, hey, you actually, if to communicate with the community better, is like remote work, have the crazy hours at night. So
which he prefers that anyway, because that's his normal schedule. So
yeah, he's like a vampire. So.
Shout outs to Grayson if he's in the chat here. I assume he is working. He's up right now, but
should be sleeping now.
he should be sleeping.
Yeah.
So before we move on real quick, can we just confirm, the patch is supposed to go live today. Can we confirm what is exactly going in with the new version of HR? Because I know people are going to be very curious about it, but can we give a definitive, here's what's coming to HR with the change today?
Well, yeah, so the definitive is this, the Dark Swarm, the Dark Swarm is returning, and then the pop-up, random portals are coming.
Is that for blue and for red, or is that just for blue for now?
So
그런 디테일들은 이제 계속 바뀔 수
yeah,
있어요.
we're so the thing is,
처음에는 좀 마음에 안 들 수도 있어요.
Yeah, what he's saying is
시간이
we're still, because those are table changes
Down to the
still,
wire.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, down to the wire as always. But so those could change. Like the time again. So this is why we need that kind of the hardcore expert, you know, advice for those people that play that is like, okay. The other thing we know is that because the reward table right now, that's going to be off skew because the risk is going to go up a lot,
Right.
but then the reward is still not, you know, going up. And so again, this is stuff that we're going to have that kind of conversation back and forth to figure out, okay, what makes this worthwhile for you guys? Because right now is, first of all, we just want to get that kind of that visceral, getting back in there and having that brutal hardcore feeling back. So there's a lot of different knobs, and again, so circle and portal, random portals. That's the two big guarantees right now.
Gotcha.
Like we're actually experimenting with Fog of War, like the continuous dungeon, like how bad, you know, the entering time, like how far can we push it where it feels super bad, or oh, this is kind of acceptable, or you know, maybe it's like, oh, we can't make CMM work with this
Right.
or not. But so
Well, that's actually a good segue to talking about some, you know, we want to talk about the pillars that were mentioned in the first episode of Tavern Table, especially the social pillars, which are, you know, as was talked about previously, sort of one of the main focuses, but also, you know, the design intentions with CMM and the randomized dungeon. Randomized dungeon, I think, overall has been a huge success. And in CMM, in my opinion, in a lot of ways is really good. But I think one of the main issues that a lot of people run into is the enter game, leave, get the UAV, see what's going on with the lobby, come back in, and it just turns into a death match. Or you're like 8 minutes into the game and you're still dealing with teams. How do you feel about where CMM is? Is there any plan to change the way specifically like extraction portals work so people don't camp them and then play safe around them? I know that's kind of a lot of questions in one.
Yeah, so that last question, like extracting. So again, now we're kind of, you know, splitting up. Like, hey, you know, normal is higher survival rate. It's a little bit, you know, more. So hey, if you want to camp, you know, and they want to run, it's like, dude, that's the normal experience,
Okay.
right? So again, right now in our head, that's kind of the sphere because we just split it. Who knows? There's probably gonna be like we split, and then there's gonna be things like, oh, this was not that bad. This is okay, and you know, it kind of swaps things.
Right.
But like the spectating stream, so it's not per se like stream sniping. You know, that the UAV, we internally call it like spectating sniping.
Right.
And we think we see that as a huge issue with the CMM right now. And so, but the thing is like, so we have some kind of safety solutions that we could turn off and on with settings with the CMM internally. And I think we're gonna start testing that out on the high rollers, because honestly speaking, like, you know, you're not really doing a lot of spectating sniping in the normals because like, oh, okay, I did all that work and I got like blue riveted gloves or whatever, you know, it's like, it's a bigger issue for the high rollers. And I think, you know, the other aspect of the CMM we have to consider was like the efficiency of the server cost, right? Is that, but because now we're not trying to push all these people into high roller, it's like it's a much smaller portion of the community that's playing high roller.
Right.
And so we're like, hey, you know what? If we could improve the overall experience of this small high roller and make it a really good experience, but it costs more for us, we'll eat that cost, right? And so we could change around these kind of settings with CMM that will raise the server cost for us, but then that you know, will make a barrier for that kind of spectator sniping. And so that's another thing that we've been talking internally. Like I've been talking with the CTO a lot this week, right? So these are things that having this kind of new philosophy of like, oh, okay, this isn't a game for everyone, the high rollers, is like, oh, okay, now we could start actually pinpointing and doing, you know, highly targeted, what is it, solutions for these kind
surgical changes for the hardcore experience.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, like I said, I when I first saw the changes, I was a little skeptical of it myself, but then sort of understanding the philosophy of separating the two and knowing a lot of really hardcore players that enjoy HR, I think there's potential for it to do really well. Of course, it's going to require some modifications, but I'm interested to see what happens with it myself. I've seen some pretty good reactions in chat. It's I think come as quite a surprise to people, but I guess we'll it's like we said before, we're gonna push these things live and try to react to them quickly, and we'll see how it plays out. Since we brought up the sort of general design intentions, we don't really have time to like kind of wax philosophy of the game overall and where we see it in 10 years. That's something that we'll probably get to in a later discussion. But we should talk about the social pillars, and we actually have some slides that I'm going to go ahead and pull up here.
Yeah.
Regarding the Gathering Hall, which is going to be one of the main focuses for the next season. And Terry, during our last episode of the Tavern Table, you sort of mentioned that the fourth pillar of the game, being the social aspect, was something that we really hadn't touched on very much, and that we needed to make it more of a focus, because back in the day when people started playing Dark and Darker, the fun RP interactions in the dungeon and the social space is really what kind of helped the game grow alongside the hardcore aspect of it. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Gathering Hall and sort of future intentions with guilds, and maybe even if there's any kind of integration with religion, etc.
What is this?
The first thing is, so our, for next season, so we're getting kind of close enough that we're trying to think of, hey, what we have to prepare for the next season, upcoming season, right? Is that what's going to be the kind of, we want to put in like one kind of big pillar system each season, right? And so for us for the next season is that, hey, we wanted to actually start, we talked about the social aspect, and we want to put in some of the groundwork for that. And then the other motivation here was like, hey, the Tavern's gone, Otto's gone, but it's like, hey, he's still here in our hearts, but we want him, in the game too. Is like, okay, so for us is like, the first thing is, hey, we want to give people, this is again an experiment for us, but I think we're gonna get really good data out of this, is that, hey, we want to give people a space that they could call their own in the game, right? And so, we wanted to do some kind of housing stuff, but hey, that's a lot of effort for individuals right now. It's like, hey, let's start off with more of a kind of a community thing. So the first thing is, it's going to be the return of the Gathering Hall, right? So the original Gathering Hall in the game right now is just like a text base, because we're really big into like Battle.net 1.0, right? That was kind of
the old Diablo HUD.
Yeah, so if you see the trading post, you could kind of tell where that inspiration came from, right? But the thing was like, hey, we've kind of advanced, we've made a lot of different kind of progress in video games. And it's like, hey, so for now is like, and we do come from this era as when we play games and for building communities, like when we're playing CS, right? Is like now everything is so the actual matchmaking, but we come from the era is like, hey, you go in, you get that server list,
right?
And then you're like, oh, okay. And the thing was like, you find that one couple server, you favorite it, and people know your name, and because you play at the similar times, you see the same people and stuff, right? And so that was kind of the inspiration for us here, is like, hey, we want some kind of that serverless kind of feeling, right? And so for us, it's like we pretty much re-envisioned the Gathering Hall as like a custom servers for people. And so
for playground and
for playground.
그래서 그러니까 사람들이 좀 모여서 놀 수, 그러니까 던전 말고 경쟁하는 던전 말고 모여서 놀 수 있는 공간도 있었으면 좋겠고, 뭐 상상해 보면 사람들 모아서 대회도 열 수 있을 수도 있고, 듀얼 대회 같은 것도 열 수 있고,
So
뭐 숨바꼭질 같은 걸 거기서 할 수도 있고, 뭐 하여튼 재밌는 것들 많이 할 수 있게.
Yeah, so the thing was, for this, at least starting off, is we wanted, hey, the dungeon is all awesome and stuff, but hey, a place where, especially going with the super hardcore mode too, is like where you have a place where you're not always with the super high tension. It's like, oh, you can still participate in the game, in the community itself, but now you're just kind of just hanging out, right? And so that's what we wanted to
네,
create.
그리고 우리 게임은 이제 같이 할 사람 찾는 것도 좀 힘들잖아요. 그래서 게임 안에서 친구를 좀 사귈 수 있고 이런 플레이스가 있으면 좋겠다 이런 생각들이 있어서
Yeah.
이쪽으로 우리가 디자인을 한 거죠.
Yeah. So the other thing is like even if you have friends, it's hard to even hang out virtually with your friends in our game. You know, it's like you're just sitting at that main lobby screen. It's like, damn, why isn't he clicking ready or whatever, right? So yeah, if you see, this is our mock-up right now, the game design for the first iteration of the tavern, or sorry, the gathering hall. It is going to be so. The other kind of caveat here is that starting off is that it's all going to be private custom servers though, right? So
Private custom servers
hey,
is kind of lame, low key.
Like I'm kind of giving some insight into the technical structure of how our game is run, right? Is that every dungeon, everything is actually, when you're in the 3D space, is running on the dedicated Unreal Engine, right? And unfortunately, that's actually pretty pricey, right?
Do we have to pay
And
our
so
own
the thing was
money?
like, oh,
No
okay,
way.
running one of these servers for us is, when we looked at it and crunched the numbers, it does become a little unsustainable for us. So I think that the original vision right now is like, hey, so we're gonna give you guys a lot more customized, control
I'll pay
with
for it for the boys though.
but
I'll
then
do
you
it.
have to actually rent the servers. It's like, renting your own Battlefield server, or renting or having your own Rust server. I think like one of the things we're looking is like, oh man, we do envy like what Facepunch has built up with, that Rust community and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, I mean, they not like that kind of structure.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
네, 그래서 뭐 여기 이제 체스 미니 게임 이런 것들도 만들 수 있고.
Yeah.
근데 그걸 저는 사람들이 크래프팅으로 만들었으면 좋겠어요. 그래서 사람들이 루인스에서 나무를 캐는 모습을 보고 싶고. 그러니까 그걸 그래서
It's
누군가는
actually
세 번에
genius in
그냥
order to
체스
get more
게임만
money, low key.
30개 놓고 체스 대회 열 수도 있고요.
Yeah, so
네,
he's
그런
saying
거
it's like,
생각하면
he wants to add, like, people will be able to customize it. They could do things like, you could go and chop wood, and then you could craft that wood into like, wooden chessboards, and like we'll actually make a chess mini game that's not, and all of this stuff is like stuff that was already in Ultima Online, 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Dude, chess would be gas.
Yeah,
fan
so-
of Ultima Online.
But you can make your own octagon in there. These are things that, like, again, that's not coming out in version 1.0, but that's the way that the vision is going. Is like, hey, so it's like if you made a chessboard, you could just call your gathering hall, hey, serious chess players only or something.
We have a chess league, and people are gonna have to show up at their chess rating in the title of the gathering hall. So is this version of the gathering hall sort of laying the foundation for like guild halls and sort of just general social spaces?
So this is the first step into like seeing how receptive people are into having this kind of social space. And then the other thing is that, yeah, we do want people to be able to form guilds. Is like man, so again, nothing's been decided yet, but we've been going back and forth, like, the actual going back to the hardcore vision is like, so again, this is not happening this season, but maybe next season. Like, one thing we've been talking about is like, hey, for high rollers, there's no duos and solos,
Oh, wait a second. No, so trios only
No.
on high roller potentially.
Yeah, only high. Again, it doesn't make sense for normal, right? But
Right.
So these are things that we're considering. But then, hey, if it's trios only, it's like, then do we have a sufficient enough system in place that people could readily find, proper parties? Oh, that's going to be very difficult. But that's what we're hoping that this, that the gathering hall could hopefully kind of fit that kind of hole, right? Again, these are high hopes. We don't know. So, but we won't know until we actually experiment, right? So that's our driving goal. And we think, hey, if that works, then guilds actually makes a lot of sense. It's like, hey, you come in, I played a bunch of EverQuest, and the first thing I log in is like backstab cheat. It's like, hey everyone, you know, and it's like you backslash cheat, you know, list. You see who from your guild is on, and you're like, hey, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, I log in and I go into my guild, you know, my personal or our personal guild gathering hall. You know, I have the special privilege to get in there, and it's like, oh, hey, oh, there's Odin. Hey, what were you planning to do? You know, and I could see you there, right? That's kind of our hope here.
Yeah, I remember early on SAF talking about how it was supposed to be sort of a MMO light in a sense, or kind of like a making multi-worlds, and I can see, you know, kind of where you're going with this, with being able to create these persistent parts of the game that uplift the social aspect, that make the actual gameplay aspects of the game better, and having a social space where you can just basically pop in and see, okay, who's online? We've got these 3 people that I normally play with are all waiting for a match right now, but 2 of them are actually waiting for somebody else to get out of their match, so I'm going to team up with this guy. That is such a great idea, and I wish we had that right now. That sounds super fun. I know a couple people who are already plotting to take over Dark and Darker with their guilds.
That's awesome. We, you know, my goal is hopefully we'll see like Odin's #1 fan base fan guild, gathering hall or something, right?
Let's be honest, it's all going to be Otto. Where's Otto? That's going to be the top guild. Otto's Squires will be the top guild. Hey, I mean, the social aspect of this game is, like we mentioned before, a very important part of the game, and really one of the early driving factors of the game's growth. So it's good to hear that there's going to be a lot of focus on that coming up. So moving on, kind of to expand a little bit on that, I know this is a weird, somewhat of a weird jumping off point, but I wanted to talk about something cool that we looked at today, and just to keep in mind for everybody in chat, this is an early mock-up, this is not a finalized version of it, so bear with us, but we are working on an arena spectator system, and this is something that people have requested for quite a while, and this is, you know, it's a little too early to talk specifics, but we've mentioned before that we do have some interest in doing tournaments down the line. And
this is my first time seeing this, but this is
really?
awesome.
Yeah, I saw my first time today earlier too when SCF sent it over to show off to the stream. But I was really excited about this because the potential for us to be able to facilitate tournaments, but also for the community to be able to kind of run their own tournaments is really exciting. So I think this kind of highlights like to me, an interesting turning point for the game where social aspect is becoming more of a focus and more tools are being given to the players. This is just really exciting stuff. Can we talk, while we're on the topic of this, can we talk about Arena a little bit? I would like to kind of get us into the Q&A section here. We asked some questions.
Yeah.
Oh, huge. They're getting into Q&A. Huge.
We have
Arena. Yeah, so again, Arena's his wheelhouse, right? That is.
그래서 일단 지금 아레나 시스템은 MMR에 좀 문제가 있고.
Yeah. So there's definitely issues with the MMR system on the arenas right now. We know that there are, you know, we were actually knew about those holes, right? And
그래서 이번 패치하고 아레나 테스트 시즌 2를 끝내고 아레나 테스트 시즌 3를 시작하면서 MMR을 좀 픽스를 할 거예요. 수정을 하고 그리고 그게 끝나면 아마 이제 정말 이 정규 시즌 다음 시즌에는 아레나 시작할 수 있을 것 같고 그때는 아레나 보상도 있을 것 같고.
So the issue with, you know, I think because of those whole loopholes with the MMR system is that there's the faith in MMR as a representation of your skill is like it's ruined right now, right? And that's our fault. And so, but the thing is, like, it's difficult to start with this polluted data and then try to clean it up again. And so we came to that decision is that, hey, so we're gonna end this arena season. We're kind of chalk it up to, oh, okay, we messed up. Right?
We're taking the L on this one. We're taking the L.
Yeah, but hey, well, you know, all that data is still saved, and we're gonna have it in the leaderboards. And again, we're still thinking about ways to like have, you know, the old like Easter eggs and stuff, right? So that data is gonna be saved, but then because we know the fix for the current loophole, you know, of kind of what's it called, like MMR abusing. Yeah, we just call it MMR abusing.
Let's call it what it is.
So we're planning to cut off this and at least for the next remaining time for this season is like try to get a cleaner representation of Arena, and then so we're gonna call it like early access Arena season 3. Actually it's like 2.5, but yeah. The other thing we're doing is that we are, this next update that's coming out tonight is there's gonna be the random dungeon system is being applied for ruins and the goblin caves also, and so and we've added so the big win for the random dungeon system is now we could start putting in modules just individually. So you saw that with like the Inferno.
Right.
We're gonna have new modules in, and some of the new modules that are coming in like were actually built specifically with like Arena in mind. And I think you're gonna see the refresh of the Arena maps for season 3, 2.5. Or, we're gonna call it 3.
그때는 좀더 그러니까 아레나 테스트 시즌 2에는 맵을 좀 좁은 맵들 위주로.
Yeah, so he said, for this current season, Arena is like he purposely wanted to see how Arena works with like this really tight, tight corridor type of maps.
Wasn't a big fan.
다음 시즌에 아마
It's gonna be a better.
좀더 밸런스된 맵 위주로 선택을 할 거야 아마.
So it's gonna be a better mix, and he's saying it's gonna be a much better, because he plays Arena religiously, like on Mondays he's like he'll sometimes come in late because he's like, oh, I stayed up all night because I had to grind, right? So he knows, so that's like another ulterior motivation for like 2.5, or the next season is like, okay, we're gonna update the maps.
So we're looking to update the maps. We're trying to fix some of the MMR abuses that people have been going after, and I know people have asked. Go ahead.
그 옵저버 시스템 관련해서 좀 얘기하고 싶은 거는 이 옵저버 시스템이 아마 가을 정도에는 다 만들어질 것 같아요. 제 생각에는.
Oh, so the picture you showed of the observers or the spec. Okay, what is it?
완전히 잘 만들어지고 나면 아이언메이스배 토너먼트 한번 해보고 싶어요.
각 리전 이거 언제까지요? 언제 생각? 근데 we don't know. I don't want to.
올해 안에 할 수 있으면 좋고. 그래서 리전별로 제일 잘하는 팀 찾아서 다 뽑은 다음에 이제 마지막에 선정된 팀 4팀 정도를.
So he's talking about trying to do like once we get this system in, is do an official tournament, So
그리고 이제 선별된 리전별로 선별된
by region, right?
초대해서 한국에 초대하고. 여기서 대회
He's like, he's going all out. He's like, hey, we're gonna fly him out to Korea and then invite him here.
준결승이랑 결승 그냥 한국에서 한번 해보고.
Okay.
How is gear gonna work though? That's my question.
That's exciting stuff.
하는지.
그 생각 있어요. 그 한국 팀은 우리 QA 팀이 이길 거예요. 제 생각에.
뭐 그럴 것 같긴 하지만 근데.
I think the QA our internal QA team would be
이제 그렇게 말하면 한국 플레이어들이 이제 엄청 열심히 할 거예요.
No, that's awesome, right? I think our internal QA team is we have some of the best players here.
I think everyone watching the stream right now would like to take a swing at him and find out if that's real, if that's true or not.
Right? So that's what he's saying. Is like me saying that I just put a big target on the back.
That's right. We got a bounty on all the Iron Mace developers now. Get out there and show them what's what, guys.
If you're a demon, message me after this. We gotta lock
trust us. There's levels even within the company. Like
we're recruiting right now.
I try to play a lot, but I can't even hold a candle to some of these guys. So up there is like, wow.
All right. Well, promising stuff coming for Arena. Real quick, I do want to just address, because I've seen a number of people ask about Arena rewards. The plan is to have Arena rewards at some point, but as we mentioned before, the
next season. So he's saying that. So again, the Arena right now is it's
still a test.
It is. It's still a test.
And it wouldn't feel.
And it's obviously a test because you saw like we made these huge blunders with MMR. It's like it's just not. It's not ready.
And also, I think people would. In general, this is something I've spoken about in the Discord, is that I think in general people would not be satisfied with us giving out rewards when the best strategy to get the top rank right now is to sit in the swarm and heal. We know about that. We're working on fixing it. So it's This is why the rewards are not coming just yet, but they are in the works. But we do have a ton of questions that we grabbed from. We opened up a channel on the Discord called the February 2025 Q&A, and we did grab a ton of questions. We're running a little short on time, but we're gonna try to get through all of them. And if we have some time towards the end, we will go over. I know SCF has some time restraints, but we might be able to show off some stuff a little bit later. If if he has to leave a little early, we can still show off like the remaining teasers that we have. But as far as the questions go, we'll just start right from the top. And again, these are questions that we got from the Discord, but we don't have the names attached to them. I apologize. Next time we do this, we'll try to grab the names as well. But first question on the list: have you ever considered changing the revive mechanics, especially with the random dungeons? It can sometimes be like almost impossible to get a teammate back. Just bad luck with res tables, continuous matchmaking, constantly pushing teams into you. Is there any idea of changing the revive mechanic for teams that lose a team member?
So for me, I've never thought about this, right? So because there's so many other stuff that is just like way like fix the game, right? kind of issues. I guess maybe this is
저는 이거는 뭐 그냥 플레이 할 수 있다고 생각해요. 밑으로 심장 가지고 내려갈 수도 있고, 그러니까 여러 가지 선택지가 있어서 이건 뭐 그렇게 문제는 아닌 것 같고.
Yeah, so he's saying he doesn't really see it as an issue right now. I was like, dude, there's multiple strategies. You could grab the heart, go down the level, or and me, I'm being very open. Out of the list of things I had to think about, this was not even on it.
All right, well, I guess we'll come back to that one another time. The next question we have on the list is there any plans to add new stats or adjust existing ones, especially stats like true damage and add damage, which are currently sort of dominant in most people's kits? They kind of prioritize building it over mostly anything, particularly true damage. Is there any chance to add new stats or address those existing ones?
So a question for SDF.
네, 그런 생각도 있지만 근데 일단 시즌 내에 이런 일은 잘 없을 거고.
Yeah, so within the season, he's not planning to do it.
랜덤 옵션 변화는 아마 뭐 준다고 해도 다음 시즌, 이번 시즌.
Yeah, so this season, there's no thoughts of doing that. Maybe if it happens next season, but yeah, like 뭐 추가할 거.
없어요.
Yeah, he's not really thinking of adding.
베이직 스탯들은 좀 조정해야 될 것도 있어요.
Yeah, so there are things like adjusting curve tables and stuff. Like I think even this next update that's going out tonight is that.
네, 말을 해주면은 안 될 것 같고.
진짜요? 왜요?
그건 패치노트에서 보는 게 좋을 것 같아요.
오케이. 그냥 뭐 큰 거 아닌데요.
근데 이제 그런 거 걱정하는 거죠. 그러니까 바꿀 수도 있고 마지막에. 아니면 사실 그것보다는 사람들이 이제 시장에 너무 영향을 줄까봐 미리 말을 해주면 그래서.
Okay. So he's saying he doesn't want to give insider information because people that hear this podcast and not they're gonna have a head start on the marketplace, knowing wait, this is going down or this is going up.
Gotcha. Okay, so secret until the patch notes, but there may be some changes.
Something I wouldn't even have considered at all.
Fair enough.
I think you'll have impact, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Will existing weapons get additional moves or attacks? Something like the felling axe getting a right click for a new swing.
So.
네, 최근은 아니고 좀 됐죠. 예를 들면 이 무기에 있는 바디시나 창 같은 것들이 그 디펜스 메소드가 있잖아요. 근데 이게 그 임팩트 레지스트가 너무 낮아서 실제로 쓸모가 없었는데 그걸 이제 버프를 해주면서 사람들이 이 무기로 막는 모습들이 좀 많이 나왔거든요. 그래서 아마 코어 메커니즘 건드리면서 무기에 좀 블록이나 아니면 뭐 패링 같은 것들 좀 더 많이 추가할 수도 있고.
Okay, so he's saying
다른 것들 더 추가로 개발해 볼 수도 있어요.
So okay, the short answer is yes. He's thinking about it because now he's refocusing on combat, and so obviously the weapons, the movesets. Like and one specific example he brought up was like like the Bardiche or some of the staff weapons, they kind of did tune some of the impact resistance on that, and so he sees more people using it. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a good sign that hey, if it's worthwhile in battle, and we can make it can make the it's something that he would consider. adding to more weapons if
Gotcha.
people use it.
We have a question here that's regarding are there any changes going to be made to Continuous Dungeon? I think we kind of already touched on this topic a little bit, that it's something that we're still evaluating and addressing as we go. But just to kind of address this question, are there any immediate future changes to Continuous Dungeon? Anything that we're thinking about in the short term?
그러니까 뭐 그런 거 좀 당연히 조정은 있을 건데 이제 우리 한국에선 난입이라고 표현을 많이 하니까.
Yeah,
좀,
the re-entry.
네.
So I think that's the
그래가지고-
part that we need to really start looking at and adjusting the
네,
most.
그 시간도 좀 조정해야 될 거고
You
근데
know.
사실 더 중요한 거는 이제 탈출이 너무 쉽기 때문에 지금은 그러니까 그 던전 모험하는 그런 그러니까 리스크 리워드 이런 게 좀 밸런스가 맞아야 되는데 지금은 되게 완전 캐주얼하고 이지하게 진짜 이지 액세서빌리티
Yeah.
높이고 싶어서 이렇게 해놓은 거잖아요. 그래서 그런 것들은 아마 조정이 좀 될 거고 이건 노멀이든 하이롤러든 좀 많이 다 조정이
Yeah.
될 거예요.
So I think he's talking about because, especially like the current system, like escaping is relatively speaking, historically is pretty easy now, right?
Except in
Unless you're
Inferno.
actually yeah, except for you're right. Yeah, so so that's something that we're gonna I actually kind of consider is like, hey, so again, it goes back to that risk reward evaluation. Is that I think we kind of did underestimate how much easier escapes are gonna be with the continuous dungeons having
그거 확인해보고 싶었죠.
so many blue portals, blue statics, and the rate of reward, high reward items being able to be taken out. So I think there's going to be adjustment going on, but again, so we're going to do things one by one, and we're actually going to start like separating out, like have our domains too, instead of hey pumping everything on and then one by one coming out.
Good to know. All right, so
Oh wait, so
Okay,
yeah. Oh okay.
그 하나 just one more.
Yeah, so yeah,
그-
one more point.
지금 조금 아쉬운 건 이제 다운스테어 같은 데서 싸움이 일어날 때 너무 쉽게 내려가 버리니까 거기서 이제 리스크 없이 파이팅하는 모습이 좀 많이 나오잖아요.
Yeah.
그런 것 때문에 아마 상호작용을 해야 문이 열리게 한다거나 그런 식으로
yeah,
변화될
so-
수 있어요. 네. 그건
so-
조금 시간 걸리겠지만 한 2주 정도.
Yeah, the other thing that so this does go back into that risk reward. It's not just changing the loot table. Like one of the things that we're actively exploring right now is like the static down portals and there's like you have to actually interact with it to open, so
Right.
it adds a little bit more risk.
That-
It's not
so-
just
that actually
Yeah,
addresses the next question that was on the list, which was about dealing with people camping extracts, which is another really big problem, especially in HR, is that people are just they're sitting next to the Reds and taking very low risk fights, and if they lose, they just leave. So it's good to hear that this is being considered. So this is something that may potentially change in the future. That's very good to hear. The next question is related to mobs a little bit. I think mobs have been something that haven't changed very much in the recent time with the game. Are there any plans to make adjustments to AI behavior? Any changes to
that's a really good
spawns?
question.
There's there are some spawns that can be really difficult for certain classes. If you spawn in with like multiple Nightmare Axemen, you might just be screwed based on your spawn.
Yeah, so I think that's an issue of us not going through, like reevaluating.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of polish that hasn't been done properly. At least when it comes to the monsters itself, is that I think so. The monsters, there are some bugs in the system, and so we're trying to.
네, 그 얘기를 좀 해줘야 될 것 같아요. 그러니까 지금 많은 사람들이 그 원 몬스터 가이 알고
One
있잖아요.
guy.
Yeah, the monster guy.
근데
Yeah,
이제 많아졌어요.
yeah. So there's multiple. Yeah, there's
세
three.
명이네.
Yeah.
문제는 이제 이 사람이 테크니컬 디자이너였기 때문에 그 뭐 언리얼 엔진 이야기지만 블루프린트로 좀 많이 만들었어요.
Yeah.
그러다 보니까 그 퍼포먼스나 아니면 뭐 퍼포먼스적인 문제는 그렇게 없지만 약간 로직 쪽에서 우리가 그러니까 쉽게 말하면 이렇게 해서 그러니까 레고 블록으로 이렇게 조립을 하게 해주고 싶은데 지금 모래랑 그걸로 다 물로 다 차로 진으로 만들어서 이렇게 만들고 있는 거예요. 그래서 그러니까 플렉서블하게 변경하기도 좀 어렵고 그런 상태라 이걸 지금 다 리팩토링 하고 있고
Yeah.
이 리팩토링 다 끝나면 아마 생산성이 많이 올라갈 거고 그때 AI에 대한 어떤 발전 이런 것들 좀 생각할 수 있을 것 같아요. 지금은 이제 레거시에 만들어둔 안 좋은 로직들 이런 것들을 다 리플레이 하는데
그러니까
시간을
그거를
쓰고 있기 때문에
설명하고 싶은 거였어요.
네,
So,
네.
again, this is something that's hidden in the background. Is if you know our history, and we built this game like just hey off the shelf as fast as possible. So and we had the one monster guy, right? And he did an outstanding job with all the the limited resources that he had, right? But basically, like he was just like, okay, I have this parts, and I'm just gonna. It's kind of like hard coding like each monster. Like he just blueprint all the behavior by itself, right? And now that has limitations because like, you're like, I want to take this part from here, but you have to build each monster this way, right? So it's like he was saying, it's like he built each monster is like you had clay and then you have to sculpt each monster, right? And now, but the system that makes sense for us is like, we should have like Lego blocks, and it's like, okay, I want this monster. Oh wait, I need this part here, and I can make another monster, right? And so in the background, what we've been working on for like the last like 3 months now is that we've actually been refactoring and making like an actual monster system, the first blocks, right? The problem is then you have to get all the old monsters and then remake it into here, right? And at the same time, we're testing them. It's like, hey, we need new swimming monsters eventually for the next, the biome, right?
Right. The water map.
And so, the water map, which comes with it's a whole another set of challenges, right? So, until that system, is ready, not even production, it's like somewhat set, is that there's kind of this slowdown, like, blockage for new monsters coming out right now.
So mobs are going to mostly stay the way they are until this new system to kind of be able to take bits and pieces.
That's why it is buggy, because it wasn't made by a programmer, right? It's like, okay, hey, there's this bit of logic I could cut here, and we're going to see how it works out.
So just a quick kind of tack on question to that. It wasn't on the list, but I've seen a few people ask this in the past. Is there a plan to add like special version? We already kind of have like the unique mobs, but is there a plan to add like special variants of the monster where like, this one leaves behind a flaming trail, like it's got the special warlock, like the I can't think of the name of the spell right now. The
monster,
flame walk. Like give a monster flame walk, or give a monster like an ice shield or something.
몬스터가
뭐,
특별하게 주나요?
그러니까 같은 몬스터인데요. 그냥 버전이 조금 다른 거예요. 그래서
I like a unique monster.
kind of like unique monster. 근데 뭐 얘는 지금 이제 예를 들면 뭐 플레이머. So again, this is we never thought of these. This is real time. Like, wait, that's not a bad idea.
그러니까 이런 아이디어는 그냥 많으면 많을수록 좋은 거예요.
Yeah. So the thing is,
시간에 따라서 계속 만들 수 있는.
having what he's saying is having a pool of these kind of ideas to just like when we have the system in place, and then our monster guys now, it's that monster guys, okay.
Monster guys, it's not one guy anymore.
Yeah. So, but again, we're kind of clearing out all those kind of stupid technical debt that we built up ourselves, one by one. And so the monster thing was a kind of a really big thing, but it worked really well for what we needed at that time. But to expand quickly and for other new higher monster guys to learn and build upon it, like that old system is not good for that, right? So that's why we're reinvesting in making a new system.
Gotcha. So mobs will be mostly unchanged for a little while, but the new system is going to bring along some pretty sweeping changes, at least the ability to develop further.
네, 뭐 몬스터로 플레이하는 것도 할 수 있고 이블 아이도 고칠 수 있고 여러 가지.
Yeah, so the evil eye is broken because of that system.
I'm sorry to the evil eye guy.
R.I.P. evil eye guy, but it's not just that system. There's a
system. It's so good.
Yeah, it's related to that system.
Gotcha.
So.
All right, well, there's hope on the horizon for evil eye guy then. Okay, so going into this is kind of a big one, and this ties into, I think this goes back to like training even, and like subclassing, but it's kind of an all encompassing question: is will multiclassing or something similar to multiclassing, subclassing, something like that, either return to the game or like an entirely new system be developed?
멀티클래스.
그 멀티클래스는 이제 지금 말할 수는 없지만 엄청 휴지 프로젝트의 그 일환이야. 그러니까 그 연결돼 있는 거. 그러니까 이 멀티클래스 하고 있는 이유가 있는데 지금은 이제 말하지 않을 거고.
Yeah.
네, 멀티클래스는 앞으로도 이벤트로든 뭐든 계속 있을 거다. 근데
Yeah,
이건 너무 중요한 거예요. 왜냐면 되게 그 퓨처 플랜에서 우리가 지금 그 빅픽처 그리는 거 중에 꼭 필요한 거고.
So,
근데 서브클래스 시스템 이런 것들이나 그 이제 사람들은 트레이닝 빨리 해주고 싶기를 원하잖아요. 근데 그건 좀 고민이 많이 있어서 아마 지금은 포커스가 그렇게 높진 않을 거고 아마 코어 컴뱃 시스템 이런 것도 좀 많이 고치고 나면 그 다음에 아마 생각할 것 같아요.
okay. So, you know, so what he's saying is okay, going back specifically this part. Will the multi-class system come back as events? Yes. We know people
Like
don't
1
like
week,
like
Just
very
1 week,
short-term events. The reason why is because for us is when we do this, we get this kind of internal data that really helps us kind of clean a lot of things up. You know, find kind of big loopholes, and at the same time, it kind of battle tests the kind of structure of how our abilities and you know how all those systems. And there's another reason. There's another secondary reason we want to strengthen this up is because so I see people, oh yeah, test server, but the thing is, we need a critical mass of people testing this to find that those combinations that kind of, you know, go break that system, right? And because we have plans for augmenting the system in other ways that have to do with the kind of the strategy of the company, right? So
I think a lot of people are optimistic about subclassing or sort of class trees to sort of expand on individual build identity, but I think multi-classing is not something people are too excited about.
So yeah, unfortunately, so yeah, there's two kind of needs there. Is like there's the needs of the company and the development and the improvement of the, you know, the game structure itself. But at the same time, yeah, it does have that kind of you know, detrimental effect on the players, right? So I think this is something we have to be more careful about. But at the same time, it's like, you know, the player base going and trying to break that system is so valuable for us, and then it helps us make, you know, better stuff in the future. And then, but he did mention like the subclass system or the, you know, the like a training system is that it's always in the back of his mind. It was a high priority at one point, but the thing is like now, you know, he's kind of understood, hey, these kind of systems, they have layers, and right now there's so many super high priority stuff on the combats, you know.
The fundamentals need to be addressed first.
Yeah, and so now that focus is, let's get all this stuff fixed first, you know.
Gotcha.
So bunny hopping, hot swapping, you know, like target sizes not matter, you know, matching up.
Panther head hitbox.
Yeah, blocking, that kind of stuff. That if this isn't fixed, you know, like
everything else doesn't matter. Right. I got what you're saying. Right. Okay.
It goes this way, yeah.
So the combat, the core systems first, then expanding on the rest, which I think that's what most people would expect anyway. Let's get into, we've got some economy and kind of like trading related questions here. What are your thoughts on the religion system? Because we recently just made an update to it. It still hasn't had a ton of impact on the game itself, but it has made a big difference in the market. How do you feel about the massive shift? I mean, 200K is a lot for even players who play a lot, I can't imagine that the average player could afford a 200k skin.
지금 저는 한 10만 골드 정도? 반 정도 했어요. 근데 이 시스템 디자인 할 때 저는 10만 골드 정도 에이밍하고 이제 만들었는데 우리 디자이너들 20만 골드를 원하더라고요.
네.
근데 그렇게 했는데 지금 생각보다 이 골드 싱크가 너무
I
싸요.
just messaged. Oh, did
Yeah,
he's
so-
gonna ask about Druid.
So he's saying is when he originally
Too much,
designed the system, the intention was like, hey, that cat was at 100,000 gold, and that, right now he's at that level, right? Personally, with his character, and it was like that we probably overestimated, and that the gold sync effect is having too much of an effect.
Too much of a swing.
Too much of a swing, yeah.
Yeah,
And so
that's
that was our mistake in kind of gauging. So
아마 다음 시즌 좀 조정될 것 같아요. 이번 시즌에 직접 조정하진 않을 거고.
yeah, so he's saying is so we missed the mark this season. We're not gonna really touch it, and we're gonna try again next season.
Okay. Have you ever considered? This is kind of a parallel question to something like a solo self-found. Have you ever considered disabling the market for the first couple weeks of
Yeah.
Of release?
We actually talked about.
Yeah, we decided next season.
Oh,
there,
했어요?
Yeah, there will be no marketplace at the
Beginning.
at least 4 weeks. Maybe.
For
Okay,
the
well,
first
so
month.
So we were talking
This is
about
news.
the
This is
other
the news. We're just
day.
hearing this for the first time.
No, so Tarkov did this, right? This season, or I think this wipe, right? And I think like it was pretty evenly split between, oh, this is great, or this sucks, right? But
We're
the
gonna
thing
try
was
it
like,
though, right?
that was our thing. It was like, hey, yeah, it could be disaster. So it was like we saw Tarkov, and it was inconclusive. That was our response. Was like, hey, there's very, very passionate people that really hate it, and there's very, very passionate people that really like that, right? And we're like, okay, what's the pros and cons?
Somebody
the
was
thing is, like,
asking. Somebody was asking for clarification. Is that going to include both the marketplace and the old trading system?
Yes. So it's just that was the thing. It was like, hey, so this is this came up because we're talking about like, oh, okay, what is the original super hardcore vision that you want to establish for like high rollers? But then the effects of the marketplace do have that kind of dilution effect, right? And it was like, oh, okay. So
그리고 이거는 이제 태님한테는 얘기 안 했었던 건데
he's saying this is I'm hearing it for the first time. He never told me this. But
그런 생각이 있어요. 그러니까 예를 들면 보스라든지 그 던전이라든지가 이 시간에 따라서 우리가 지금 위클리 그 퀘스트 오픈하잖아요. 그런 것처럼 스케줄도 된 상태로 이 시즌에 맞춰서 이렇게 천천히 오픈되는 거를 지금 생각하고 있으니까 첫날부터 모두가 다 뭐 보스 킬링하고 네임도 들고 다니고 이런 걸 원하지 않고.
yeah. So okay.
뭐 예를 들면 이건 그렇게 될지 모르겠지만 첫 주에는 고블린 던전만 있는 거예요. 전부 다 고블린 던전만 가야 된다거나 뭐 그건 이제 생각해서.
So he's just
그런 아이디어
brainstorming, throwing out, but he's like, hey, so, okay, it goes back to the issue of like, hey, all this content all at once, right? So
Right.
that's the thing, or is it gonna? Or do we want something that, things are progress like with the crafting system with the quest, how it locks it by the week, right? There is feedback saying that sucks. We want everything all at once, but I think that there is a excuse me, I think first of all, we do have seasons. That's part of the reality of our game. Is like, hey, so can we make this the progression of the season be more meaningful? And so that's the thing that we're kind of exploring. So, and again, that topic did kind of branch out from the hardcore, making the hardcoreness of the high rollers. But it was like, hey, that's a very interesting question, and we are kind of curious about, oh, okay, how will that change players' behavior? Not being able to sell things right away, right? And again, this is the inception of the idea right now. It's not fully. So he said 4 weeks right now. I was like, whoa, because yesterday is this even possible or not? oh no, should we do it or not? It's like
Maybe no trading just for HR.
so we'll see again, but that's super interesting question, and it's just very timely too. So
I see a lot of the streamers in the chat just laughing at each other, saying no more handouts for you. They're all guilty of it. You know who you are. But that's interesting. Hey, I mean, listen, I would love to try solo self-found and know a lot of. I will say, of all the things that we've talked about tonight, the potential of no trade for the first 4 weeks is the thing I saw the most W's in chat for. So we'll take that with a grain of salt.
이거 사람들이 좋아하다고 지금까지.
뭐 근데 재밌을지 안 했을지.
Yeah, so we don't know, but you know, we have our assumptions, and we kind of differ too. It's like, oh,
뭐 해보고. 네.
we'll make an internal bet.
So on the topic of the economy there, this is kind of the last like trading and economy related question. Keys have been a big point of contention across the game's lifespan, and in the past, keys were sort of a major part of content. The key rooms used to be where a lot of engagements would happen, and people would use them because they were valuable as usable items. But now their market value, because of gold storage and how much inflation there was, you don't use keys. Even mystic gems, people really don't use them. You can if you want to make a video about it. It's obviously a big content thing. But is there a plan to do anything with keys? Maybe make them drop more frequently. Maybe make them bind on pickup so you can't trade them, or maybe make them much more valuable to use. Anything like that.
그러니까 키를 뭐 더 밸류블하게 만들고 이런 것도 중요하겠지만 그것보다 아마 이것도 얘기 안 했던 건데요.
So I'm.
네. 그러니까 어제 생각한 걸로. 그러니까 다음 시즌부터는 드럼 레이트가 좀 바뀔 것 같아요.
Yeah, 저도.
네. 더 많이 내려가고 좀 이렇게.
So I think we had to readjust the. So part of the reason that they're previously they were actually worthwhile using because the drop rate, like if you want it, the exchange for potential exchange rate or the effective value kind of matched what you could get from the keys. And right now it's just like everything's so abundant. It's like, okay, it's just more of a symbolic thing. But yeah, so internally, so he's saying, I haven't told you this, but it was like we're on the same wavelength.
네.
We think there has to be a readjustment to the reward, risk reward right now.
뭐 조금 설명해주면, 그러니까 지금 이제 드럼 레이트가 이렇게 돼 있는 거는 옛날에 우리가 이제 기어 스코어 시스템 같은 것들이 없을 때 아래쪽에서 위쪽을 좀 빨리 쫓아갈 수 있게 해주려고 이렇게 한 건데, 지금은 이제 기어 스코어 시스템이 완전히 자리 잡았기 때문에 그렇게 해줄 필요가
필요
없어서.
없고 이제는 다 보내야 되는 것도 그
네.
생각이 없어졌으니까.
그래서 기어 스코어별로 뭐 드럼 레이트 달라질 수도 있고, 뭐 그건 이제 앞으로 또
저는
고민해봐야겠지만
계속 그거를 하고
싶었죠.
네.
그래서 전체적으로 좀 다 그 리워드 시스템 자체를 다 바꿔야 돼요. 네.
Yeah. So these are things that we had internally discussed a lot. Is like the risk reward right now is very, very skewed, and you're gonna see it again with the first version of the super hardcore high roller coming out. People are gonna be like, dude, the reward's not worth it, and we know that, right? And it's just not easy to fix all in one go. So I think that's something. That part is going to be returned to my wheelhouse, right? Or I'm going to work on it with our lead game designer, right? Is that, hey, this is something that we could work on together. But it is a pretty huge kind of endeavor right here. It's like it's multiple different tables, but that's something we want to address, and the keys are linked to that. And then at the same time, I know the content team now has ideas to make keys more valuable, right? In a different way that kind of links to this, but makes it more fun too, right?
Well, so here's a follow-up question that kind of links into that, and that's: is there any plan to add like kind of events to the map, or maybe hotspots where like a circle shows up, even if it's in the fog of war, that's like, hey, go here because there's going to be high rewards here. Maybe the loot's boosted. Maybe there's more spawns of sub bosses. Maybe you have a higher drop chance for certain materials. Maybe that could be an indicator for where the key rooms are. Something that people have asked about is like events. Is there any plans to maybe keys could tie into that somehow?
뭐 그런 아이디어도 재밌겠지만 지금은 이제
So that all sounds cool, but it was just like, yeah, we haven't really, like deeply actually thought about that, because it was just like, okay, foundational stuff was like building this game is so difficult because there's all this stuff that we're just kind of
Too complex.
yeah, the complexity is so so like, and we're you know we go this way and then we go this way and then we finally we feel like we're getting better at that. So like random dungeons and continuous matchmaking was the result of all of that, kind of searching. But even here it's like, hey, there's still those complaints about like, we haven't really got the polish down there, right? And so when you bring up something like events right now, it's like those are stuff that we talked about when we were super naive and innocent about, oh, game, we're gonna make this game that's gonna have everything. But now we are like, oh, okay, wait, we gotta fix this, and everything's like leaking, and it was like, okay, oh, we'd love to have like the nice
So it's, in summary, it's from a technical level, it's this is very potentially a really big challenge, and there are other things that are sort of taking priority.
I'll be honest, we don't know. It's just like right now, we don't have the liberty to even investigate that right now.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's try to get through these next ones real quick, because I know SDF needs to get out of here soon. Will luck be changed in the future to have more of an impact, or at least maybe be a little bit more clear? Right now it's, there's luck grades for items, but also your luck value can affect it, so it can be kind of unclear what luck really does. Is there any chances to maybe make it harder to get it, but make it more effective?
So I think the main issue with the current luck, so there is a problem with readability on the luck system, but I think the bigger problem came with, we adjusted again. All of this tied into the risk reward system, the loot drop tables, right? Is that it was built with a certain assumption that loot is going to be very difficult across the varying grades. But the thing is, like right now we just went like boom, and so the current luck system, the impact of it, because it had this assumption that a certain amount of this lower grade loot would, had a high percentage chance coming out. What luck actually does is it does raise the higher ones by a smaller amount, but the big thing that luck, as the current iteration, was that it drastically reduced the rate of low grade items. But the thing is, like, hey, we just gave everyone a bunch of luck by just making all these low grade items not
right
drastically lower anyways. So that's why so it does warrant adjustment, but at the same time, we've been hinting is that, hey, the entire loot drop system requires adjustment, so this has to be in tandem with that.
Gotcha. This next question that's on the list is something that we've already answered, so we're gonna go and skip that. But real quick, any ideas for kind of end of wipe events? Is there any plans to? I've been asked this question a lot. Any plans to let uniques into Arena? People are wondering, hey, should I sell my artifacts, or should I hold on to them for Arena?
어떻게 할까요? So he's the master of the arenas, right? Yeah, so he says for sure he wants a unique.
그거 얘기해줬어요. 그러니까.
So it's a missing point there.
그 아레나 시즌 3 시작할 때 이제 SSF 아이템 아닌 것도 쓸 수 있을 거예요. 네.
So for so this is a good point, that important point for the when we start the next arena season, within this season, right? Is to get that higher participation for that very last, kind of run of, is we're gonna switch on that mode where the item no longer needs to be SSF.
Okay, so any it doesn't have to be minted. So we're gonna do like we did last season, where this last test. Towards the end, people will be able to wear.
So again, it's just to get higher participation into the arena, because we're gonna stress test that MMR, right? Because we're putting in those kind of restrictions to kind of exploit the MMR system.
Gotcha.
So that was one point that we missed, but that's very, very important.
People are just real quick. People are asking. I'm just gonna let them know. Yes, there will be arena rewards. Not yet. We're still testing. It's not final yet. Okay, so next question is a pretty big one, and I think this is something that people have really been asking for a long time. Will there be any updates to the inventory system and any QOL features for inventories? Things like potions and arrows take up a lot of space. but we're also supposed to be getting more utility items that were mentioned in the past, and that could cause a lot of congestion in the inventory. And even things like your own stash, gold storage can be kind of frustrating for, you know, the casual or average player not being able to get chests and bags. Are there any plans to change player inventory, and any chance plans to change stash, any QOL, things like sort buttons, search functions?
그래서 뭐 소팅이라든지
네, 근데
뭐
뭐
그런
더
거는
중요한
Quiver.
거는 그거죠.
뭐 퀴버
네, 퀴버하고
네.
뭐 그 컨슈머블 배그 이거
네.
이런 거. 예. So
근데 뭐 그거는 중요하지만
중요해요. 중요하지만 중요해요. 제 생각은.
네, 뭐 게임 코어 좀 보고 그 다음에 아마
예.
포커싱 할 것 같아요. 아니면 저 대신 포커싱 해줄 수 있는 사람이 있으면 뭐 해줄 수 있고요.
오케이. 제가 지금 있는 So we're saying okay, we're trying it's you know, it's kind of a high impact system and so is you know.
그래서 이건 좀 신중하게 해야 되는 거라 생각은 있고 근데 다만 뭐 급하게 막 할 생각은 없고 근데 같이 이제 보면서
Okay.
집중할 수 있는 시간이 필요해요.
Yeah, we just okay, we got the little thing notification that this is really, you know, we knew it was
얼른
because yeah, every time we play we're like, oh, man, what I'm yeah. He always complains about when he was playing Ranger, this is like super high on the radar. He's like, oh, dude, even 100 arrows is not enough for arena.
When's the quiver coming?
Yeah. So again, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's important. Yeah.
It's important.
We realize this is again our strong point is not management.
Hopefully they talk about Druid. That's like
scheduling.
super important.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And that's an understatement. So.
All right, so the next question I got here, this was one that we got pretty early into the Q&A, but then I saw it again repeated in a different way, so I kind of combined the questions. Is there any thoughts on having the leaderboard open up at the start and starting to use the is there any plans to bring back the old leaderboard system?
old leaderboard. 뭐 그래서 리더보드는 이제 그러니까 우리가 항상 되게 늦게 시작했는 거.
네, 그러니까 이번에 한 달 정도 걸렸나요? 그건 좀 안 좋은 것 같고 그냥 전 2주 정도?
Yeah.
그래서
So
바로 시작하는 건 안 좋다.
yeah. So I think the other problem is starting it right away. So now we actually have you know the terminologies, but like when the season starts, we're gonna have like a preseason, right? It's like, and we think that's just because when new things go in, especially when we put in new things, you know, things tend to break, and we need a little bit of time to find those kind of game breaking things. So I think like this time it took almost a month for us to actually open the leaderboards. It's like that's not what we wanted. Maybe something like a shortened, like a 2-week preseason. That's something more in line of what we think makes sense. So, but like having it start right as we start the season, I think that's just very dangerous knowing, you know, our history, right? So.
Speaking both for myself and for the players, I think you know it's not a secret at this point that people are kind of clamoring for a more impactful leaderboard, and that the AP system doesn't really deliver on that kind of competitive system, and especially if changes are going to come to HR, where the swarm might be coming back, and you know it might be down to portals and stuff. Is there any chance that we see a change to the AP system to bring back something a little more competitive, a little more hardcore?
Well, so again, the you know, the start of going back to this super hardcore mode only happened very recently, like 2 weeks ago, and so now we haven't thought of all the extra stuff that's attached to that, so we had to start thinking about that.
Gotcha.
But again, yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Okay, well,
저도 생각이 조금 있어요.
We did get through all the questions that we had from there. We have a few more things left to tease and a few like just announcements to make. Kind of, I did see some concerns about people talking about like cheating in RMT as SDF message in. Sorry, go ahead.
So there is so we have something in the works. Okay, so it's a serious issue. We always talk about that, and so
Top priority.
yeah, it's been
Trusted account system.
yeah. So we have something in the works called the trusted account system. It's going to be pretty unique to our situation. Is I mean we've gotten some inspiration from other systems that have something similar to that, right? But you'll actually see some of the front-facing stuff coming out even today's patch, right? So we're gonna start letting people know, show, hey, how many people I'm reporting and how many actually result in bans.
Count.
Yeah, and we're gonna start leveraging, that kind of system to help the community better alert us to suspicious people. And then at the same time, we're working on a system is that even when we can't actively be capturing all these people, is that, hey, if there's, people that have that kind of spider sense and they're really good at finding these people and getting it to us, and then we judge and getting banned, is that, hey, we could put them into like a holding area, right?
We will make the guys like a dungeon police.
Yeah. So
He said it,
internally
dungeon
we
police.
call it like the dungeon police, and so again, so you'll start seeing the forward-facing stuff is like, hey, is we to motivate people, or it's not just motivate, it's like to give you guys the right feedback of like, hey, I'm not just abusing the system. So I mean, and the assumption is like, yeah, not everyone's gonna be dungeon police material, but there has to be some feedback mechanism, and so that's the thing. And we're gonna show that to see if player behavior changes, and then use that data to work on this system to help us clean up the dungeons.
I have a next meeting.
Yeah, so he has the next meeting.
We need to kick.
Yeah, so he says we gotta kind of wrap this up now.
Okay. In that case, Terry, do you have to go as well?
뭐 어떻게 할 거야? 근데
뭐?
그러니까 그 다음 회의 있는 거요.
이제 끝?
네.
빨리 끝내야 돼요.
So yeah, he was because we have to get the patch ready. So if it's I should probably go along.
I can finish things up from here.
Okay. Okay. 아니 그래서 라인 이제 해줄 수 있다.
Okay. All right. Well,
all right. So
thank you guys
sorry
for joining us.
We're gonna just get a quick bite, and then hopefully we could get the update out pretty soon.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. We while you guys are here, just so everybody knows, our part of the communication strategy is to try to do these a little bit more frequently. They will most likely be smaller in scale so that we don't have as much of an impact eating up the day, but we will like to try to do some larger, like maybe one a season where we do like really big reveals and stuff. But I'll let you guys get to it. We'll wrap up with just a few of the remaining previews that we've got.
Damn, those are 2.5 hours.
We will call it a night. But thank you guys very much for being here for the Q&A, and good luck with the patch.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Again, I apologize being long-winded and just talking so much abstract stuff, but I think having that context really matters. Next time, hopefully, right, Udin, we come out, we have much more actual concrete
they were cooking a little bit, Sanctum.
That's my goal. That's my personal goal to get better at that.
Yeah, it was a tough episode to get to because of everything else that's been going on, but we'll keep improving on these episodes in the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll see you guys soon then. Thank you so much,
players.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
I feel a lot better, being able to. It was a rough 2 weeks, man, or 3 weeks. So yeah, but
I've got a few more things to basically just to go over on the community side with everybody and just kind of cover those last couple topics. But if you guys need to head out, I can handle that from here.
You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, it's just me now. I'm glad everybody could tune in. Real quick, I just want to answer some questions. I can't go into too many details because I'm not a developer, but I will be able to try to answer some of the questions in chat. Real quick, I just want to touch base on the remaining topics that we had to talk about, which really wasn't much. The season wipe date is currently planned for April 10th.
I'm sorry?
We probably could have done that while they were
10th?
still here, but we
No
it
shot.
just kind of slipped the mind.
Oh my god, a whole
To
month.
clarify on the Q&A that we did from Discord, there was an open channel where we had asked the community for some questions, and we kind of reviewed and went through to pick out some questions that we could answer. There's some stuff that's still in development or that we can't quite talk about just yet, so there's a limitation on what we can talk about. As far as what we have left to show, I'm just going to give... I don't have too much to talk about here because I can't really give context to it, but there is a new merchant that will be coming soon that has an affinity system related to growth with it. It is the Cockatrice merchant, and I can show you guys some screenshots of this. I don't have too many details to give you this, but this is something that will most likely be coming with the upcoming wipe. We'll expand more on that in a future update, and there's also something that I accidentally spoiled earlier while I was trying to... switch scenes without you guys seeing it, but you saw it earlier, and it is the cannon that is supposed to be something that is featured in the water map. So we'll talk more about this stuff in the future.
Oh my gosh!
I can't tell you too much about it without tearing
the
SDF
flintlock
here because I
rifle,
want to make
dude.
sure that I'm representing the information correctly. But get excited! There's some cool stuff on the horizon. We will talk more about this in the future. The next Q&A that we do, we will probably try to do live with at least a few kind of pre-captured questions so that we can fill the space in between while we have the moderators pick out questions in the interim. Terry SDF wanted to share these pictures with you guys. There is some construction going on at the offices, which is why there was a lot of delays, and this is also kind of getting in everybody's way at the moment. But the Iron Mace offices are undergoing construction. Just to give you guys some assurance, we're not going anywhere. There's still still plenty of investment being made into the company, and there's confidence that we're going to keep developing the game. So they are working on expanding the office. Hopefully we'll be back to full operating capacity soon. And that is basically it for me. I will sign off by saying, as we mentioned before, there's going to be increased effort in communicating with our player base, and that includes, as Terry and SCF were talking about, the dungeon police. There's also some other things that we can't quite talk about yet with trusted reports and just gathering feedback and making sure that we're staying on top of bad actors to keep the community clean. So we are refocusing on these things, and this will be a big priority going forward. We appreciate you guys being patient as we figure out the best ways to do this, but we are committed to cleaning up the community and getting rid of these people.
Get rid of
We
the
apologize
cheers.
for all the disturbances that they've caused
And
up
arm
to this
tears.
point. But that is about it, guys. I will see you all in the chat. I'll follow up and try to answer some questions in chat, but I need to get off of here myself. So I will see you guys all in the Discord. Thank you very much for tuning in. The VOD for this will be uploaded on YouTube, so if you missed parts of it, you can check it out there. We love you guys. Have a good night.
Well, damn. No, wait, what about the Q&A? What did they say about the Q&A? Is that it? I thought they were going to pick out questions. Or am I mistaken? No shot. Yeah, that's it. Holy shit. Well, unlucky. I guess Druid's balanced, guys. Unlucky. Oh, Druid's balanced. What can you do? So, we got a month and 4 days, it looks like. Damn. That was long as fuck, dude. That was 2.5 hours. That's crazy. Alright, holy shit, we got a lot of fucking notes. God bless. Holy moly, dude. Alright, what are we thinking? Do we want to go over the notes real quick and see exactly what they talked about, or are we good? We have a ridiculous amount of notes here. Let me just pull all this stuff up. Go over the notes? Alright, we'll go over the notes real quick. We have... Man, we have a lot. This might fill up the whole screen. Go over notes, W. Alright, we'll go over the notes. Just trying to pull all this stuff over. A lot of notes were things we knew. Yeah. So, let me take a piss real quick, dude. I've been holding this bitch in for a minute. And then, I think I have one more. No, that's it. Okay, I'll be right back. Let me take a piss. Alright, so these are the notes we've gotten so far from Tavern Talk episode 2. There's a lot of stuff. Some of this stuff isn't really important, but I'm going to try and decipher some of this here. So first, over here on the right side, we got, this is the community. They were talking about Grayson being more active in the community. As you know, Grayson's been, well, you guys probably don't know, but he's been a lot more active with us Balladeers. We've been sending him pictures and videos of cheaters, armed tiers, all kinds of stuff. And just this week alone, he's banned like a ridiculous amount of people. So they're getting more active with cleaning up the dungeon and stuff like that. They talked about essentially they need to try new things up. SDF said that, you know, they started to acknowledge that SDF is a little bit controlling, and he said he doesn't want to micromanage, but he felt like he needed to, because at the early state of Iron Mace, you know, they don't really have money to waste, and, you know, he was scared that issues were going to go wrong, and so he just wanted to take charge of everything, essentially, and he wanted to have full responsibility if anything went wrong. But now he's understanding that that's an issue, so they said that they're just gonna fuck it, we ball, and they're just gonna let people go crazy, and if they make a mistake, it is what it is. Yeah, ignore that. Terry was not talking about spit and verse. Combat. Okay, so they said something really important. I believe they're going to be working on this patch. Well, first let's talk about wipe date. What was wipe date, boys? Let's see. What was wipe date? April 10th, I believe it was. Yeah, April 10th. So I think in the meantime, they're working on fixing the movement, blocking longsword. This is high priority for them. They said, actually, the patch going out today, bunny hop should be gone. They said they fixed it. They're very confident that this is fixed. But as far as the blocking portion of it, it's a little tough depending on your latency and where you're at and stuff like that. They're still working on that. Yeah, they're working on that stuff. And they kind of like talked about opening up different, you know, the abilities for different classes to be able to have different movement. I'm kind of just like, it's hard to say what they kind of meant, because they were kind of like beating around what they were trying to say, but they said, you know, I just assumed what they were talking about was like Electro Dash with like Sorcerer and Panther dashing. The movement tech is insane, so I think they're working on adding more movement style to a lot of other different classes, pretty much. Yeah, this is just talking about SDF, blah blah blah, he's yapping. The core, okay, this is huge. This is an important part of the game. So they admitted that they were neglecting like the core part of the gameplay, and that's where things started to really get messed up. So they said now they're more focused on the foundation of the game. And then once again they talked again about how SDF and Terry have different play styles. You know, SDF's more competitive, he likes the more hardcore PvP, and Terry's more of like the dungeon delving, you know, fantasy stuff like that. So, you know, they were just still talking about how that was an issue, but they're working on it. Oh, this is another huge thing. I guess they have the numbers, and they dropped the numbers, I believe, in the announcement. Was it the announcements or somewhere that they said 50% of the player base are normal still? So they pretty much said that they've given up on trying to force normal players into going to HR. So the huge thing they're doing is they're going to make HR more hardcore, and I think they're adding more things to normals to make it more dungeon delving, more friendly. So for this is something they confirmed. For HR, they confirmed that the circle is coming back. I think it is on this patch today, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they said, but we'll find out here in a little bit. But yeah, they said the storm is coming back for HR, so get ready. You have to find your portals again. I'm not really sure how this is going to work with the statics. Is there still going to be statics around, like in ruins, yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. Are they just going to remove all the static portals, keep the actual statics? Because actually, now that I think about it, in Crypts there's no static blues; they're all portals. So they could keep the static reds, but have the random portals that spawn like back in the old days. Yeah, but then again, on ruins there's still the static blues. So I wonder how they're gonna do that, but we'll see. I'm guessing this is what I think. I think they're going to keep the static blues and reds on ruins, since that's kind of like the first start of the map. It's like the beginner friendly. Then Crypts and ruins, since there's no static blues, they're going to have the randomized portals with the static reds, especially for Crypts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Things that they're really working on right now. B-hopping, like I said, they're fixing that on this patch, supposedly. And they're very confident about fixing hot swapping. They were talking about that. So it's super important to them as well. They understand it's an issue. So, they were talking about how fixing up like the foundational problems with like the movement and the blocking and just the melee mechanics, that'll speed up their content production. I think they were talking about that. I'm not really sure how that makes any sense, but that's pretty much that. Other than that, yep, you already talked about that. Okay, they were talking about, will certain weapons have different melee animations, right? Because, like the felling axe doesn't have a right click, it's just a left click. And they said, yeah, they're thinking about it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. They said they're thinking about it. So they're working on it, they're thinking about it, but I think they have too many things that they need to focus on first before they can start doing like that. Like the foundational part of the combat they need to get down, like the movement speed changing with B-hopping, because then they're gonna, since B-hopping's gone, they're probably gonna have to adjust casters in a certain way, otherwise they're just gonna get slammed, because you can't B-hop out of the way. So you're just going to get caught by all melees, especially if you don't have like ridiculous amount of move speed. They talked about how the loot table for HR needs to significantly increase since the storm's being added. But they said they're not going to do that right away. They're going to have to gradually start to do that. So that's not going to be an immediate thing, but that is something that they address and needs to be done, because obviously they said right now the risk reward is just not it. Like, they said when you go in there, the risk reward is just not it. It's going to be super risky, and so yeah, if you're not ready for it, probably stay in normals till they start updating the loot table. Will they be updating the monsters? Okay, they were talking about the monster system, and they were talking about Evil Eye and stuff like that. Essentially, they have to create an actual monster system, because I believe that the current monsters that they have, like the Goblin and the Troll and the Cyclops, stuff like that, were actually assets that they just bought on the store. So they actually have to get a programmer to create unique mobs and monsters, right? But they also have to remake all the old assets. So that's something that they're working on. That's a huge thing that is probably going to take a lot of time. I doubt we're going to see that this season, maybe even next season, but that's something that needs to be done. Somebody was asking about multi-classing, subclassing, will it return? He said he's always thinking about it, but once again, there's too many major issues right now, so that's on the back burner. They can't even think about subclassing or multi-classing, and he knows everyone hated multi-classing anyway. They talked, oh, this is a huge one. So, the market crashed right now, right? Skull keys are what, fucking 12, 13K? They were saying, thoughts on the religious skin being too overpriced and the gold sync just being too much. And they said, yeah, it was too much. They missed the mark. They just said they took an L, pretty much. And they said next wipe, they're going to do better. That's pretty much it. Oh, another big major change. They said for next wipe, I'm pretty sure they confirmed this. They said next wipe, the first 4 weeks, there will be no market. It will be the old school trading on the Gathering Hall, and that's it. So that will increase the progression reward, essentially. Skull keys just sold for 9K? Holy shit. Knocked it out of the park with this communication? Yeah, W. Absolutely. Keys are used for gold storage. It's not worth running. Okay, do they have any plans on making them more sustainable? Yes. Wait. Well, this is... they acknowledge this, right? They understand that the keys are just used for storage right now. But they didn't really give a concrete answer. I don't think they're going to do anything right away about keys, to be honest. I mean, Odin was talking about suggesting that the keys become like account bound and stuff, but they said with the risk reward being so ridiculous right now, you know, it's just gonna stay this way until they adjust the loot pools for the piles, I'm guessing, or if they decide to add anything into these actual key rooms. That's pretty much it. This is funny. People were asking about quality of life, inventory management, and the gold storage, and they're just like, I don't know. It's important though. So yeah, whatever that means. Yeah, and that's pretty much it as far as everything they were talking about. They didn't talk about Druid being completely broken. They didn't talk about solos to trios, balancing. They didn't talk about any of that. The only other thing is they started off like the first hour talking about what's been going on with the lawsuit. Kind of boring stuff. All of the pretty much important thing they said is last week they put an appeal. They put in a formal appeal to Nexon for the lawsuit because they said they think it's unjust. But they also said that they saved up a war chest for paying out the Nexon lawsuit. So they said they're okay on money. He didn't say that. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Okay, so that's pretty much it, the Q&A. They didn't get to ask too many questions, at least important questions I want to hear. Seemed like they were beating around the bush a little bit, but what can you do? Yeah, they were talking about a lot, like a long time they were just talking about the lawsuit, which I understand is important. They need people to understand, because it kind of looks bad from their perspective, since they lost part of the lawsuit. They're probably, you know, people are probably thinking like, oh man, they stole the trade secrets. Oh, that was another thing. Hold on. I had another, okay, I don't know where the notes section is, but I'll just tell you based off my memory. Essentially, they said they lost the lawsuit. Oh, no, this is right here. They lost the trade secrets information, and they said it's separate from the materials. So they said basically their memories were the trade secret. So then just working on it in having an idea about the game, like learning certain aspects of P3 is technically trade secrets. So that's how they lost, which they think is bullshit. And that's why they want to appeal that, because that's not just, like, I don't know. Ideas cannot be a fucking trade secrets fucking violation. It's crazy. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. But yeah, that's pretty much it of the Q&A. It was very long, 2.5 hours. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that segment of that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's the overview of that. Holy. Now what do we do, boys? Market change need to be coupled with inventory changes. Yeah, your ideas are trademarked? Yeah. Make that make sense. Yo, this right here is absolutely hilarious. Somebody dropped this in Balladeer saying their chat made that. That's gas. Absolutely gas. Alright. Let's get all this out of here. They said they're getting ready for the patch, so this is going to be interesting. Oh yeah, and everyone's arguing. I was arguing with somebody in Balladeer. And he's like, "Are you calling me bad because you said I don't like Circle?" I was like, I wasn't saying that, bro. Just saying the OG people are probably the people that are gonna enjoy playing the Storm. Not everybody's gonna like it. It is what it is. But saying it's gonna kill the game, bringing back Circle to HR is just dumb. Because HR is for fucking the demons anyway. That's just my opinion of it. I love some Circle, yeah. I don't have a problem with it. Everybody was fucking crying there. It was a free-for-all, dude. Exotic didn't even fucking defend me while I'm fending off 4 fucking people. It's funny, too. There's a couple people in there typing, and I know they fuck with Circle heavy, but they just didn't want to get in the drama, dude. It's okay, I'll take a bullet. Never played with circle, but I think it'd be fun. It's fun, but it's frustrating. If the portal spawn below you, GG's, bro. You're good. You're cooked. Song Jin Woo, before he started leveling about spit my drink on my monitor. He started leveling before he started leveling. Wait. You mean before he fucking leveled up? Wait, that's actually some funny shit right there. Hold up. Yeah. Yeah, that might be it, bruh. That actually might be it. Oh, dude, or Lee looks like Lee. Holy. As a Fortnite player, I like Circle W. What the fuck is this? What do you mean, what is this, Ray? This build? This beautiful bar build? We're about to slam some people, dude. Oh wait, that's not. I got that off a body. I'm supposed to put on what? This? Boof, dude. This shit is bis. You're tweaking. Let me show you how to play Barbarian the correct way. I know you may be new here, but I'm actually kind of crazy at Barbarian. Located. Ray, yo, we need to talk about your fucking dog shit suggestion. He said, bruh, Ray said give every class, or give Barbarians Lightfoots except on every other class. Only allow Barbarians to use Lightfoots. What the fuck is that? Now that B-hopping's gone, dude, we're gonna be fucking cooked. All casters are cooked, bro. It's literally free. Dude, this class is easy to play, dude. Oh my gosh, you're about to die to Wisp. I'm not lying. Casters are cooked now, especially since B-hopping's gone. Oh, we're fucking cooked. I didn't mean to come on Ruins low-key. And they said it's done after this patch, so they said this patch today is gonna fix B-hopping. It's gonna be gone, so casters are cooked. You were playing without it just fine? Yeah, because I'm good. No, that's gonna put too much of an upper hand on Barbarians, bro. Barbarians are already a fucking pain in the dick to play against, especially as a caster. They would have to reduce the scaling on like Rage in their movement speed abilities, because they're already too fast. Dude, Ray, the whole game is not based off fucking arena. You have one arena mindset, that's it. Do you know how bad that's gonna be in the regular dungeon? Yes, it will be bad. You wouldn't know, you're not a caster. You don't understand, bro. No, you lose anyway if you land your shots. That's what you don't get. Let's just go to Inferno. I'm not gonna waste my time on this fucking grid. Now instead of B-hopping, zapping me? Okay, bro. Every range class. Bro, you don't even play any other class but Barbarian. All you play is melee, so you don't even begin to understand what it's like to play a caster or a ranger. You couldn't even understand, bro. You couldn't even understand, bro. No, you played like 2 games, bro. Sip counter? This shit's almost empty. I've never seen you play any other class but Barbarian, other than the couple times you were on Wizard, and I think you played Ranger a couple times. Ooh, I wonder if I can do Warlord on Barbarian. I haven't even tried. Probably. No, it doesn't fix the issue. It just makes it so you win every fight. That doesn't fix the issue. It makes you happier. Because now you just wouldn't lose. Because you would literally catch them every single time. If range classes are put in this position where they're slower than melee classes, you just lose. Especially with how high TTK is, you just lose. There's no other way around it. Lace turn shoes? Casters are not running lace turn shoes, bro. They will be. Caster only player? Alright, bro. Opinion Circle? I'm all in for Circle. I literally play every single class. I played every single class. I switch pretty much every season. This season I played more on the Warlock though. Even this season I got most classes to at least like level 80 to 100. There was a whole season I played Fighter. Oh, it's Warlord. Fuck it, let's risk it. I've never even tried to do it on Barbarian. I'm just gonna let him explode. Pause. I don't have meat heals to fuck around. Scumbag. Well, that was hard to play. He literally got 2 tapped. Wow, that was hard. Show his gear. All that's truth is. You didn't see? It was truth is all that's. Why are you even playing Ranger? Good question. Maybe, probably. I'm not sure what maybe. Probably because his sword's long. Nice. Ducking IRL. I'm locked in, bro. Yeah, Warlord hoots. I'm trolling, boys. I didn't realize I had 4 stacks. I'm literally trolling. I'm so bad, dude. Do you see how free that shit is on a Warlord, especially on Barbarian? That shit is so free, dude. Holy fuck. Holy frock, that shit's free. True, I was shaming hardcore players, bruh. Alright, what's this dog shit build I got on? Oh yeah, this shit. Alright, let's do this. Let's use this dog shit Slayer Fighter kit I built. Slayer Fighter with Morningstar. You have VODs on? For what? For the Q&A or what? What's up, Artie? Feeling even easier? I know, I saw so bad doing that the other day. My VOD should be on, yeah. Also play HR. Duluth there is addicting when it's good. When it's good. It's not good right now. Is that Grotox? No. Was that my first time trying Warlord? No, I have Warlord mastered. I'm just an idiot and got stuck by the thing and didn't have my weapon out. Because I'm an idiot. I couldn't find Circle 2. But he was a few hits away. He was almost dead. He had a all-ass Truth's ring. The green quickness ring. The +1 all fit finesse. What's your point? I literally pushed Q, ran up and 2-tapped him. I don't know, man. He didn't get to play the game. Bro's getting heated? Who is? Listen, all I'm saying, it's important not to be biased just on your main class, right? Like, I can actively say that TM should not be able to be used with shards, because that's busted. We have to be honest about classes regardless on if it's our main class or not. Actually, we don't have to, but... Shit. Alright, Tom, relax, bro. And no, I'm not 10 times better than Ray. That shit's cap. Ray is probably one of the best, if not the best player in the game. Let's see. Okay. Firebox? Listen, I've never been a firebox enjoyer. Warlord? Yes, Warlord. W. Is my damage that weak? Holy shit. You can see how bad casters are? That's probably true, but they have to do something with the cast speed. It's just gonna, it literally only hurts casters. But I agree, some casters are bad and abuse shit. Like, I'm not gonna disagree with that. actually might cook Warlord low-key. The mace, the shit might actually go crazy. Yeah, he's like half health already. They're gonna do it. Nice. Okay. Fucked up. Oh my god, no shot. Should I wait for next phase to kill it? What the fuck? You like stop for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I don't know if I want to kill him. Yeah. Because I gotta get more health before, so I don't get third party. We're just gonna let the mobs explode. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, this shit is so long. Pause. He should be low. Damn, he's tanky. All the mobs he killed. There we go. Kind of mid. Wow, no third party, huh? W. No druid? Randomly spawn rushing me? W? Boofington! Loot chest. Have you been on Tavern table? Anything interesting there? Yeah, I went over the whole thing for 2.5 hours. I'll drop a video on it. Play EU server, this shit's dead as fuck. Is it really? Heard there's a lot of hackers over there. Yeah, that's why I don't loot this. Look how bad this shit is, bro. I got you, bro. It's 4 a.m. for EU servers. What is this build? It's a Dookie Slayer Fighter build. Kind of mid stuff. Alright, Kill. Catch you later, bro. Oh, true. Arena is out. True. W. I'll catch you later, Karna. Can I make a quick summary of what happened in Tavern Talk? Just got off work. Just wait for the video to come out. I'll drop the video in a couple hours. It's already made. I was on Barbarian. They didn't really say too much, to be honest. Cheers only for HR. It's not 100% confirmed. They said that that's what they said. We'll see, pretty much. Yeah, there's definitely some really cool things they were talking about for sure. For sure, dude. Like the gathering hall, the first testing stuff of the guilds and stuff. Pretty cool. Oh, bee hopping's gone as of today. The patch is dropping tonight, by the way. It's so easy playing any other class but fucking Warlock. It's actually hilarious. Probably should have brought more heals, low key. That might not be enough. Might be a reset angle. Yeah, hopefully it cooks. We'll see. Don't have too high hopes, boys. Every tavern talk, or every time they have like these things, I'm always like, oh, I'm fucking ready, and then I get let down. So I'm trying not to be too invested in this. I died doing 50 push-ups. Unlucky, somebody already redeemed them. I still got the sip counter on the stream? Damn. Let me take this bitch off real quick. I was sipping. I was sipping. Damn, unlucky, bro. It was that easy, huh? Did I mean nothing to you? Put Subway Surfers top right. I was locked in during that fucking Q&A. You can't tell me I wasn't locked in, bro. I was locked all the way in. I was arguing with people in Balladeer. I was messaging you guys. I was updating sip counter. I was taking notes. I was locked all the way in. Holy. Talked about fixing block. Yeah, that was important. Yeah, I got the barb kit back. Where's the nip counter? You're fucking bad, dude. You fucking wanker. I will say, I appreciate y'all. I go over to like other people's streams and their chat's all dead, and I start streaming and you guys are over here talking about my nipples and shit. Like, pause, but at the same time, W engagement. Makes me think you guys actually enjoy the stream. W. Your nip is still up. Thanks for letting me know. I forgot. Question is, are we finding the boss room? Somebody was here. To bring it, oh, 100%, bro. 100%. That's why I'm like circle is huge, because like it brings back the threat. That's a rogue. Is he a scummy ass dude? Should we try and bait him into a landmine? Should we try and bait him right here? I guarantee you he's gonna come and I'm gonna ape him and cook him. Watch. There he is. This is a clip. Just get ready to clip it. Dude, I'm too fucking late. You fucking wanker. It was not a clip. It was not a clip. Rogues in a nutshell. I'm gonna fight him for an hour and we're not gonna find boss. What can you do? Still embers. This guy's a loser. Let's go Inferno at this point. Yeah, I don't even want to waste my time. I'm not gonna be able to catch him. What can you do? +1 sit, damn. Unlucky, it's already gone. Torch. Yeah, it has a loot pile up top. What's up, Zaplor? I'm feeling good. There's a bunch of soft motherfuckers in Balladeer, though. Holy shit. I was fighting for my life in there, dude. They're like, no! Not the circle! Not the circle! I was like, oh my god, bro. I can't dungeon delve anymore. Oh, it's a W, bro. W. Everything's a W. Ooh. Ooh, we actually found it, boys? We're back? I don't know why everyone's crying about it. I don't know any potions left. HR trios only. I'm not sure if I can stand by that one. That was probably the only thing I was like, The lure rib? What happened to the lure? Solo. Oh, I see. I was like, what? He's been playing with a few other people. But yeah, his content is solo. this. Hopefully he doesn't reset my shit, and I'm gonna be pissed if he does. Nice, he didn't. Hopefully he doesn't kill it, because then if he kills it, he gets... If he kills it, he gets the thing. Fuck. But I gotta be full to kill him. He's gonna get it. Oh, nice. Oh, W, W. Nice. Might be good too. Oh no, this might do it. Oh, W. W. Is he gonna leave? Is he cooked? He might be cooked here. Did I kill him? No, he's still alive. Barely. He's dead now. W. That was the last scream. He should die here. That was sketchy, boys. God damn it. I can't catch a break, boys. He's dead. He's so dead, bro. W boys or nah? No artifact, unfortunately. Where did the barbarian die? In one of the corners, right? Is it this corner? Which corner was it, boys? I forgot. I know, not the crazy loot. Is it this one? Oh, yo, walking turtle W Vans, bro. Appreciate you, buddy. Dude, which circle was it? To the right of chest door. My right or right here? Oh, right here. Yeah, there you are. Dog scared the shit out of me, low-key. Oh, thanks for the hatchet, bud. Kinda just want to take his thing so he has to buy it again. So arena rewards are coming, and that arena isn't going to be minted only. No, they said arena rewards next season, not this season. They 100% said it was not this season. because they said this was the testing portion of it. $75K gold on arena kit. No, but they're still gonna do an end of wipe arena thing. They're still gonna do that's been leaked, the end of wipe arena thing with all uniques. But wait, let me reread your thing. Yeah, no arena rewards, but they said the minted only thing is I don't know what they said about that, but I know that's gonna be an event. That's gonna be an end of wipe event. I think it's just the arena rewards that's not gonna be for next season. Until next season. Alright, we're doing one more game, boys. And then I gotta bounce for a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna just call it here. I gotta bounce. I'm gonna be late. What the hell? I might be back on later tonight. We'll see. I'm gonna upload the breakdown video real quick. It should be very soon, like 15-20 minutes, because it's already done. But yeah, I might be back on later today, or may not. I don't know. But